After 18 long rounds, we are here. The final round of the regular season. After tonight, the field will be set, and 16 drivers will be fighting for the playoffs, and everyone else will be on the sidelines. Obviously, we still have a long way to go, and we got a lot of points to go over till we get there. And obviously, with it being the true wildcard track here at Talladega, it is going to be quite interesting to see how it all shakes up. But let's get to introductions. My name is Kevin Young. Brad to bring you here again for the A² Cup Series presented by 7 Bar Barbecue for the Alabama 240 at Talladega Superspeedway in Talladega, USA. You join us midway through qualifying here, and it is going to be an interesting one. This, again, last chance for drivers to punch their way into the playoffs and fight for a championship. So we'll pull up the ticker here, show you how everyone is doing right now as we speak. Currently, our fastest car on track is John Hagan at the moment. Feather placed second, and Fleming is third. Obviously, with Talladega being pretty much flat out, there's not much you can really do to change your line. But we'll take a look at one of these drivers right now that is tempting a run, Ross Baxter, as he is now heading on out to the track. Ross Baxter being one of those drivers that can still mathematically point his way in, but it's safe to assume he's one of those drivers that is going to have to find victory here tonight. We will go over the points in just a second. We're going to let qualifying finish out. Again, just thank you to Just the Top for sponsoring all the qualifying sessions here for A² tonight. We've got a full field here of 31 cars, if my math is correct. So obviously I don't think any bumps are on the cards. Everyone will be allowed to participate, I should say, make a run. Some part-timers are here looking for some glory, other full-timers, and a mixture of in-betweens trying to find victory at the last Superspeedway of the season here at the high banks of Talladega. And quite fitting it is this is the true wild card to set the field of 16. So obviously Baxter, first run in the books, it looks like he ended up hitting the wall or invalidating somewhere, had to come out of the pit. So the second run is going to be the money run here, unless my timer is incorrect. Obviously still going to have to beat the time of John Hagan. We know Baxter is fast at qualifying here at the Super Speedways. He's shown great pace, great speed. So he is definitely a driver to keep an eye out for when the chips are down. Could be a driver that could try to punch his way back in to qualify for the playoffs. So as it comes to the tri-oval. Obviously, again, if you're watching this, you know where the line is in Talladega. But for those that do not know, it's not to the tri-oval. It is here at the start behind the pit lane. He'll come across the line. I believe that is the second run complete. And he'll go P9. We'll stay on him in just a second to make sure that my information is not incorrect. And he has one more run here. Outside of him, Tom Sears looks like the last driver to put a run down here that will be going in this qualifying session. So we'll stay on Baxter, then we'll pivot to Tom Sears. Obviously, Sears, welcome back to the series. He is a part-time entry. Obviously, last week got a P4, and if you did tune into last week's broadcast at Kentucky, it was a very interesting race. Lots of twists and turns, highs and lows. If you don't want to be spoiled, go watch the race replays. We'll talk about the results now. But Matt Vordon was able to punch his way into the playoffs, even though he was already in the top 16, but able to get himself a win and put himself in and get some extra little bonus points. So as Baxter comes across the line now, finishes second lap. So it looks like he did not take a second run there. He'll go 54.02, so he will not improve. And we'll now pivot to lurking Tom Sears. So he's running. I see a PS5 sticker on that car, but I'm not sure what that is. Let's see if we get a little bit closer. Stella the Blade. Guess it's a game on the PS5. Obviously, if anyone in the chat wants to correct what that is, feel free. But, yeah, he is running that scheme here tonight in the number 14 for Line Power. He's the last car to take a lap here, so he is going to be the driver that is going to either bump Hagan off pole or confirm Hagan will be our pole sitter and add another pole to his incredible resume he's put so far together this season. And he won't even get a second lap here, so this is going to be the money lap here. This is pretty much put up or shut up. Can Sears bump his way onto the front row? Comes across the line. And that'll be good enough for 14th to match the car number on the side. So 14th for the 14, and that is where he will go, as he will not have enough time to do a second run. So John Hagan will be your pole sitter, and I think we can see him on the track. There he is. in that iconic #1 Tar Heels machine. As you'll actually come out here, do a quick little pull out. But yep, he is officially qualified on pole. Add another one to his collection. But qualifying officially done, we will get on to the warm-up. So now as drivers get ready to do their warm-up, obviously this will be the last opportunity for drivers to make sure everything is good, maybe do some last draft practice, whatever they need to do in between. This will be their chance to do it. But since this is the cutoff race before the playoffs, we will have to go over the standings to show you where everyone is coming into tonight. So we'll pull that on the screen now. And drivers that are indicated in green, they are in the playoffs. They have officially punched their ticket. They are good. Obviously, there were some eligibility concerns with Hagan and a few others being close to the line. But with Hagan, Galloway, and Adams all here tonight and all participating, they, as long as they start the race, will not have to worry about, they will not have to miss the 80% rule and thus make it. So John Hagan will officially punch his ticket into the playoffs with starting here tonight. Now, we'll go over the rest of the lineup. Feather Place, Marshall, Verdon, Fleming, and Withers. All have won. They are all in. They have nothing to worry about. They're just here to get some extra bonus points if they find victory tonight, or maybe to help a teammate get into the playoffs. Then we get down the line. Wanzing, Dixon, Gaiman, pretty much all mathematically in, as the max amount of points you get on a race weekend is 63. So they are all above the gap to the line, which is currently Pinnell. So they are all locked in. They have nothing to worry about, but an extra win would help them in their troubles. Matthew Kent, Patrick Oberstadt, not mathematically locked. However, more than likely, as long as they keep their nose clean and don't get some decent stage points, or even decent, but just get a stage point or two by the end of stage 2, they should lock their way in as well. Blake Galloway, currently 40 above the line. He is probably comfortable along with LaJoy and Adams, but if something goes wrong in stage 1, they could be in trouble. So they are not as comfortable as the drivers above, but they have at least a chance to still make it in, unlike when they get bunched out. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Battles, currently in 15th, 4 above the line. Ryan Pinnell, 3 above the line. They are both in at the moment. Markowski, 3 back after his great run at Kentucky. He was able to recover nicely and able to close the gap. McDonough, 8 back. He can also point his way in along with Kevin Feenstra, who is 22 back, and Ross Baxter. It would be a Hail Mary throw, but if he somehow gets good stage points and chaos for both Pinnell and Battles, and McDonough and Markowski, he could also find his way in. Other than that, Michael Lawrence, Brian Johnson, Ethan Wood, and any of the other full-time competitors that met the eligibility requirements, they would have to find victory to punch their ticket in. And remember, if a driver wins that's below that line, it moves the line 1 up. So since the gap is only a point between Battles and Pinnell, if a driver like Brian Johnson, Ethan Wood, Michael Lawrence, anyone below that line wins, that line then shifts from a 3-point gap to a 1-point gap to at least start the race. So there's a lot to play for. A lot of drivers are going to fight this out. And at the end of this race, some drivers right now, to kind of use an analogy, we're at a train station. Some already have their tickets. They're already on the train. They're sitting in first class. Others are in the coach section but on the train as well. You got some drivers that are trying to get to the train station before the train parts to leave for the playoffs. So hopefully that gives you a nice little indication of what the playoffs. We'll try to update you throughout the night to show you where everyone is. Obviously, we quickly note as well, there are 3 bonus points on the line as well. Drivers get 1 bonus point for leading a lap, 1 bonus point for leading the most laps, and 1 point for the fastest lap as well. So there is a chance that they could play in factor where a driver may be beneficial to stay out long in a run, or maybe even shuffle and try to get to the front quick to lead a lap to give you that 1 extra point. Do you have my trusty notepad and pen here? We will try it again by the end of this broadcast to give you a clue of who the 16 drivers are in. But obviously we are only human, and there are chances penalties or other things could play a factor. So obviously they will be unofficial, but we will give, if you do keep an eye on the ABN underscore studios on Twitter and the ABN studios website, along with socials all down in the description, they will update you when we get a full 16 confirmed. But 14 seconds ago, we've been just following John Hagan here while I've been covering all the little tidbits and excitements we get on Decision Day. One of the terms you could use a lot of terms you can use, but this is it. This is what these drivers have been running for the past 18 weeks. Wouldn't call it a failure if you don't make the playoffs, but definitely it will be an ego burster. We saw last year, for instance, Brent Roberts missed the playoffs by a couple points and then won 3 races in the playoffs. So, could have been easily for a Final Four, but still won races. So it's not season done if you don't make the playoffs, but it definitely hurts the ego a little bit. But his consolation was he ended up winning the silver bracket, which gave him a nice consolation. So we are officially done with the warm-up. Let's get this thing underway here. We're starting to the grid. We'll see you in just a second. Well, I thank everyone for tuning in. If you have just joined the stream, you are here just in time for the Alabama 240 presented by 7 Bar Barbecue at Talladega Superspeedway, Talladega, USA. 100 laps await these drivers. And, well, my name is Kevin Young, and we are ready to go to the starting grid. So we take a look at the starting grid here. John Hagan and Brandon Featherplace, you can say the 2 titans of the regular season, 1-2 in the points. They will be in row number 1. Row number 2 will be Chris Fleming, our 500 winner. He's won one of the Superspeedways this season. He'll be on the inside, along with the winner of last week, Matt Verdun, in row number 2. Row 3, Patrick Oberstadt and Austin Mongold. Austin Mongold here in a one-off, hoping to try to find victory in that number 4. Oberstadt looking to get a good run, clinch his playoff spot. Row 4, Matthew Kent got a podium last week, definitely helped his odds. Jonathan Adams, also in at the moment. They'll be in row number 4. Row 5, Dale Markowski and Ross Baxter, the first row of 2 drivers out of the playoffs right now. They'll see what they can do. They'll be in row number 5. Row 6, Steve Tucker and Nicholas Pressey, 2 part-timers. Great to see them back in action. Hopefully they'll have a good run. They'll be in row 6. Row 7, Colin McDonough and Tom Sears. They'll be in row number 7. Row 8, Josh Gaiman and Brian Johnson. Row number 9, Edward Marshall and Ethan Wood. Row number 10, John Smeal. Good to see him back, owner of Smeal Racing Designs. Brian Dixon, obviously he comes out for these plate races. Row number 11, Briley Wright and Ryan Pinnell. Row number 12 is going to be the 48 of Chris Burton. We'll hope we can get that updated for the playoffs. And Kevin Feemster as well. They'll be in row number 12. Row 13, Joshua Battles and Blake Galloway. Row 14, Nathan LaJoy and Tommy Withers. Row number 15, Seth Wansing and Bren Roberts. Bren Roberts, one of the few that did not elect to qualify. And then last, in the last row, will be Jared Merchant. He'll be starting in P31. Do look like we have 2 drivers electing to start in the pit lane here. We got a bit of a bad angle here. Matthew Kent and Jared Merchant will both miss the start and elect to start from the pit lane. Obviously, Kent maybe looking to keep the car clean. Jared Merchant as well, going to take it smooth. Obviously, odd you see a triple number these days in NASCAR. And, well, he is rocking a triple digit on the side there. He will be starting in the pit lane as well. So this is where it gets interesting. This is the last chance. Drivers will try to help teammates, will try to fend for themselves. We'll have to see how it plays out. Would help as well if we could get some stage information as well. So we'll quickly run over the race day information. 100 laps await these drivers. As you can see, 15 and 50 are the stages, 4 sets of tires available, 50% fuels. There is 1 fast repair, so they do get the fast repairs back for the plate races. They will have 1 tonight. 3 green white check attempts if we so need it. Other than that, though, that is pretty much all the information. And lastly, first restart will obviously be on green. Every initial restart after that will be on leader's discretion of when they want to go in the restart box. But I think that takes care of that. Let's do this thing. 100 laps here at Alabama. This is going to shape up for a good battle. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in throughout this whole regular season, whether you're here for the first time or here for all 18 rounds. It has been fun, but we got a job to do, and let's get this going. Here for the ARCS Alabama 240 is underway. As lap number 1 is in the books. It's a similar sight we've seen most of this season. John Hagen leading the first lap here. Inside line, this is Fleming, Overstedt, Markowski, while Feather Place leads the outside line with Fordon and Mongol making the shake. So obviously, with it being early, drivers aren't going to be too over-aggressive here. Want to feel out your cars, don't want to make any enemies here. So everyone is still in the pack except for one. Bren Roberts, obviously a little bit far back here. Obviously, with only 15 laps, unlikely he may go a lap down here, but he is in risk of going one down. Obviously, Matthew Kent as well, just up the road, and Jared Merchant as well. So they have lost touch with the pack, but being a short stage, they shouldn't be too in trouble here of getting at least a lap back as long as they keep their car clean. Well, just doing some quick writing down here to make sure all my number is correct. But this is the best time. I love these plate races. It's very exciting when it happens because you get to see different lines play out, including right now, a little bit of a shuffle possibly playing station. Right now, it looks like Jonathan Adams either going to the back or got shuffled to the back as he is now in that third line along with Seth Wanzing. Speaking of Wanzing and Adams, are definitely drivers that love to make those third lines work when the going gets tough. So keep an eye on if they get late here, they could be one of those drivers that wants to push towards the front using a third line. Back up front, Hagen still leading the way as he is leading that train. Looks like new leader on the outside line. This is going to jump low, so that's going to allow Matt Vordon to get the inside line. Outside line, I should say, as he now will be led along with the 4 of Austin Mongold. So it looks like not a huge advantage for Feather Place, but again, maybe playing it smart, getting in, not fully wanting to risk junking the car here this early. Still up front, it's the Hagen show here. Inside line beginning to get a little traction here with the outside. So we see the outside beginning to move, but still looks like they have some problems here at least, as they see a few drivers not fully content with wanting to stay on that high line. As you can see in the wide shot, looks like Wanzing and Sear try to jump high here. Wanzing now stuck in that summer hole. So we don't have the best angles here for some of these angles there. He is in that number 14, just stuck on that high side. Maybe trying to make a third line, maybe just trying to head to the back. Regardless, he will now head to the back. So, he'll move further back. Kevin Feemster also knowing that, again, driver that if he wants to point his way in, he needs to get going quick. He's thinking about forming a third line here with the help of Pinnell, another driver on that bubble. As they know getting stage points can be crucial, especially with some of the other drivers around him currently inside the top 10, other ones outside the top 10. So, oh, a little bit of a blink there. Pinnell gets squirrely, and that's a bad time to have a blink. We'll get it off this 17 there as he had a double blink. Pinnell also hit the wall for his troubles. Mongol going to jump high along with Adams, so this is where it gets sketchy because there's really nowhere for that 17 to go. So if Pinnell, like right now, you can't push a car that's blinking, but at the same point, you can't really pull out a line. So he's kind of just stuck there because usually that third line would be the line where you would jump out. So if Feemster can't get under control, it could be an anchor tied to that 12 neck right now. Back up front, it's still the Hagen show right now. As he's still pulling forward, still charging ahead, no real contention behind. We know Oberstadt and Hagen worked together well at Atlanta, the last plate race we did. So they know for a fact they will work together and continue to work together as they so. Even though B-Tron and Smil Racing Lines are two separate teams, they basically have a technical alliance throughout to work together. Pressy looks like he could be in the sucker hole a little bit further back. Think about maybe getting shuffled out, but he will stay the course here. If that third line gets traction, some drivers may be willing to pull out to head forward. See right there in the middle line. So we also silence our cell phone, kids, before we start a broadcast. The stage already half over, obviously at lap 8. Obviously we're at 15 here. No pit stops really required for the first stage. Second stage could see some fuel saving. Some drivers may be bold to try to make it stage 2 finish on one tank. Unlikely, yes, but not impossible. Maybe even see some drivers here forego first stage points here to try to flip stage 2 on its head. So we'll keep an eye on that. Pit lane obviously will close at lap 13 as it closes 2 laps for the stage ends on 15. Still up front, it is Hagen, Fleming, Oberstedt, Markowski. No real changes in that top 4. You can see in that second line, it's beginning to move a little bit. Featherplay slowly clawing his way forward. Moving slowly, but getting the job done, as the kids would say. As he's charging forward here. Obviously, that third line also getting momentum, now led by Cressy on that third lane. And again, desperation when these stage laps running out could open the door for drivers being a bit more aggressive. Speaking of, looking at stage points right now, only drivers in that bubble right now on that line, Markowski and McDonough, both out, are currently inside the top 10. Meanwhile, drivers and Mel on that line are not inside the top 10. So right now how they're running, Markowski would jump his way back in, running fourth, and McDonough as well would not jump his way back in, but at the very least close that gap to give himself a good chance to flip it in stage 2. So coming this time by, we'll have 4 to go in the stage. McDonough now leads that outside line, I should say, even though there's a third line. Technically the middle line, I should say. At the moment, you could technically call it the outside line. However, it technically is the middle lane as they charge forward here. One thing I don't like is we can't really get a good angle coming down the backstretch here. It's either too tight or it goes into the crowd shot or it's too far. Find that good angle here, but looking right at the moment, we do have our first move for the lead. If we get a little closer, you'll see Chris Fleming electing to jump out of line with the help of McDonough, and he wants this lead back in that 38 Airheads machine. Obviously, he also being locked in, these one extra lap led will not matter, but obviously an extra playoff point by winning the stage would be helpful. He will lead that lap. And now, you know, McDonough, he knows he wants this 10 points will go a long way. And he'll jump low right in front of Hagen, now leaving Featherplace and Vordon in that second line along with Josh Gaiman. I'll be curious to see if anyone elects to come in here, maybe try to flip the stage. It's unlikely, as the benefit would be cutting it close, especially being outside the draft. You could risk going one down, or at least being in a spot. So it's unlikely I think anyone will try it, but I've seen crazier things happen. And even then, you still probably want to come in and top off, because you'll be more than likely setting yourself into a final stage. Hagen, you saw, though, jump from high to low. He takes the outside line back, as he's going to be side-by-side with Fleming here. Third line now moving. Pressy and Wanzing, they're charging high here. Hagen will lead that lap. Fastest lap for, I believe that was, Seth Wanzing, as he basically pushed Pressy there to the promised land. Big block by Brandon Featherplace. You don't usually get that in Lincoln Run. A little bit of squirrely. Pressy getting boxed there. It is going to be contagious, but they'll keep it all pointed in the right direction. But that block almost smelled disaster for the field. Obviously, right now, you know Pressy and Wanzing aren't too thrilled and basically killed that line's momentum. And now they're going to have to try to charge forward here with a lap to go next time by. It looks like both that outside line is probably out of contention. So this time by, 2 to go. Hagen, Fleming, McDonough, Oberstedt, Markowski, your top 5 here. Looking at the last bubble drive, it is currently Matt Vordon in 10th. That Smeal Racing Designs 13. on that inside line, trying to take it away. Galloway trying to hang on here to 9th. This car's going high, car's going low. It's going to be a big battle here for that last stage point. Galloway going to jump high, but we're going to cut back to our lead here. Unlikely Galloway can really make a move work here. A few other cars getting antsy. Looked like Markowski thought about going, but nowhere he could take it. Tucker also thinking about it. Markowski's going to jump back out of line again. This could be hurtful if he doesn't get any support. Marshall going to jump out as well, trying to maybe steal a few extra spots. They come down the trial. Well, Hagan going to block both lanes. It is going to be a photo finish, at least for the later spots. Coming across the line, Hagan. But I don't think actually got it. I think they gave it to Fleming. We'll see here as it cycles through and spots are close. It was close to the line. And if that first stage is any indication of how it could play out, it'll be quite indicative to see how this final lap of this race will play out if that was the race to the stage 1 flag. So as they get spaced out here, we'll give them just a second here, as they'll take a lap to get caught up to the pace car. We'll pull up the results once they get fully in line. But we'll pull up the results now. Hopefully it doesn't get too adjusted. Fleming will actually get credit for the stage, it seems. So Fleming will take victory in his 38. Actually, maybe it went to Hagan, because Hagan's got the one in front of him. So we'll see in just a second. We'll give him one more lap to get fully situated here as they catch the pace car here. But I believe, no, I think they gave it to Fleming. So even though they'll say Hagan in first, regardless, we'll give credit to the 38 here. So the 38, the 1 of John Hagan, the 33 of Markowski, good stage for him. The 39, McDonough also needed that run. The 05 of Galloway, the 60 of Patrick Oberstadt, the 24 of Steve Tucker, the 16 of Edward Marshall, the 14 of Tom Sears, and Brian Johnson will get the last stage point, finishing 10th in that stage. So obviously, we'll obviously give you the full stage 1 and 2 update at the end, so we know we're looking at the final stage. We will not do the full math yet. However, at least doing some preliminary math, looking at Markowski, obviously getting 9 points. He is now in the playoffs, bumping out Ryan Pinnell, who's out at the moment. Mark McDonough finishing 4th in the stage will get 7 points. So at the moment, the last 2 drivers in are obviously Battles, Markowski and Battles, with Pinnell 1 back and McDonough 2 back of the line. Obviously, that's the end of stage 1. We have 2 more stages to go. They could easily change things, but if you are a Pinnell and a Battles fan, that was not the stage you needed, as those crucial points went to the cars below the line. Feimster didn't get any points, and Ross Bax, the only other driver that could point his way in, also didn't get any points. So pit lane is now officially open. We'll see if what drivers like to do. Talladega, a track that you could get away with taking 2 tires if you so choose, but obviously with needing a full tank of fuel, as Hagan will miss his block along with Fleming, that could promote a new leader to the front here. So we'll keep an eye on the race here. A couple cars liking to roll the dice. Markowski will win the race off pit lane. Fleming, McDonough, Galloway, Tucker will be next, and as the rest of the drivers file out here, we'll update you in just a second. I said some drivers would be aggressive, and we saw Markowski, Fleming, McDonough, Galloway, and Tucker all electing to take 2 tires at the very least, or fill it up on fuel. Hagan, the only drivers to take 4, maybe missing his box. He elected to change his mind. Maybe that was the call after all. I do think Gaiman may have missed his box. So we'll take just a quick look here. See if we can pull up the pit lane entry here. See if the 61 ended up going through or ended up making a mistake, because he only had a 2-second stop, which indicates that he may have missed his box here. So no, he stopped for the whole time. So very odd. It said it was only about 2 seconds, but he had a normal pit stop, so Gaiman did gain those spots. Because usually when I see on the pit time on the right there, it indicates a very slow stop. Sorry, a very fast stop. It usually indicates the driver may have missed their box. Looking at the chat, we'd like to thank again Midwest Barbecue Equipment for putting this stream on as well. Thank you again for tuning in. Great to see you as a whole supporting this series as well. Obviously rooting on Seth Wanzing, as he is the favorite over there at Midwest Barbecue. Right now, Wanzing running 25th, but obviously trying to be aggressive going to the front. Just didn't work. Obviously, car's still looking clean, but at the moment, still trying to run forward. So we should get the one to go this time by. Obviously, no cars went a lap down, so all 31 cars still running. All 31 cars still on the track. Does look like there was some damage repair, though, for Pinnell and Austin Mongol. We saw Pinnell clip the wall a bit. Austin Mongol also with a lengthy stop. So they both came in. 2 cars elected to come in as well. Tom Sears, if we can get jump to Sears here and get a good angle. Sears and Withers both in, along with Roberts, Merchant, and Smeal. Does make you wonder if they are trying to top off, because we do know, if we get a better angle, we do know Sears and Co. is definitely a driver that loves to go for the alt strategies to try to make Stage 2 go the longest. So maybe they're going to try to stretch it. Maybe they're going to go length. Maybe try to get an extra lap led. But most of the drivers aren't even in playoff contention or already locked in, so maybe they're just going to try a different strategy to make something work. But now that we've gotten the one to go, we'll do a quick little update here. Markowski and Fleming, they'll be in row number 1. McDonough and Galloway in row 2. Gaiman and Tucker in row 3. Bourdon and Marshall in row 4. Patrick Oberstadt and John Hagan will be the first 5 rows here. Hagan, first of the drivers on 4 fresh tires, along with Patrick Oberstadt. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because all these drivers are in communication with their teams, and they're in situations. We know last week at Kentucky, for instance, Matt Bourdon credited his team and also Brian Johnson for keeping the momentum high, doing the numbers, and helping out to get the information relayed. And I think that's kind of the situation now. As skimming through the chats here, obviously everyone's in their own team chats, but I wouldn't be totally shocked if drivers are relaying information, running numbers, crunching things right now into this caution, trying to keep energy calm, if you will, to make sure no drivers feel pressure, but also knowing the information they need to know. Because even though everyone's running, it wouldn't totally shock me at the very least if Markowski, for instance, battles both for black acid. They know their situations, and they both want to get in to try to give 2 bullets in the gun for black acid. Technically 3, because Fleming obviously won the 500. Give all 3 black acid cars in the playoffs. However, with both drivers being on the bubble, and sometimes you have to sacrifice one or the other. So it will be interesting to see how teammates work together here, or how maybe it's friendship. Teammates may be an every man themselves situation. Pace car will pull off. Control will be on Dale Markowski as we head onward here.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag is out, and away we go to start stage number 2. And stage number 2 is now officially started here with the first lap in the books. And Dale Markowski will lead the first lap in stage number 2. Fleming, Galloway, McDonough on the inside line along with Gaiman. Outside line led by working buddies, if you will, with John Hagan and Patrick Oberstadt. They'll be on that high line as they begin to move forward. Again, I know I did hint about it a little bit earlier, but we know Oberstadt and Hagan, obviously very in communication. They do technically represent different teams. They talk out strategies, know how to work things out. And even though they aren't in the same chat, they basically kind of have a pact together, if you will, to make sure both of them keep themselves in good spots to try to make the final race between the 2 of them. That lap will be led by Markowski, but you see Oberstadt having a full head of steam there as he's looking to try to make that outside line work with Hagan and Baxter in tow. Looking good at the moment. Chris Burton all the way up, currently sitting inside 7th position there, 4th car on that outside lane. One of the biggest movers as we so speak. speaking as well, Markowski leading that lap. Just want to note that as well. He does get 1 extra bonus point, so he will now have an extra point in his total that he can use. But right there, you saw 3 cars jump down. Baxter, Hagen, and Oberstedt all jumped down. And they will take control of that inside lane. Ooh, look at that inside line right there. You see the 51 of Riley Wright trying to split the difference here. You see Brandon Featherplace pinched on that high side. He is in the outside soccer hole here. Thornton as well going to try to go, but they're going to get both sent, presumably to at least the back here a little, as you can see a little bit far away. See if we get a little closer. We just don't have those best angles we need to really get those tight shots we need. So while I have the second, why don't we run on board one of these cars in this pack? We'll jump on board, looking for a good car. We'll go with the 94 of Nicholas Presti on that inside line here. Obviously, just Feimster up ahead, pretty much a few cars away from that second line here. Currently riding around in P19, so you can see how far back that outside line is at the moment, as White is only currently up in the 14th, as he is currently leading that second train. So again, no one's going to overly push here as we see Steve Tucker jump way up the road there, jump out of line, thinking that high line is going to be his ticket to the promised land, as he is going to elect to jump high here, jump out between Gaiman and Marshall. Right pushing as well, and now we see a bit of a separation here. Smeal looks like he's lost a little bit of touch, maybe playing a bit conservative. Doesn't want to overly push here, but he is left touch, and that's going to allow that high line to get some extra pull here and move forward. So that little extra charge, that little separation will also allow Vordon to jump below here, get in line, so he will abandon that high line for the security of the inside line. We know Carmen around here loves using that high line as it's one of her favorites. Says the high line is probably the best attacking lane you can have, while that inside line is a safe line, if you will, where you don't really have any room to move. You're kind of just stuck, especially late in the race. And I do tend to agree with that thought. However, at the same point, from racing these cars and experience, someone that you could maybe is a bit more conservative around plate racing, I know that inside line can be very comfortable, very safe. And sometimes racing, you got to be willing to pull off that Band-Aid, but early on, especially only 25 laps done in this race, I don't blame drivers. So maybe if you see that inside line, currently 7 cars in, maybe safer just to stay there and not fully risk pumping out here, especially with a pit stop possibly looming here in stage 2. We saw him make 15 laps on green. Obviously, with the stage ending at 50, that's going to be at least double what they need to get forward. Up front, we'll cut back here. As you can see Steve Tucker really leading that charge there in that outside lane here. Actually, we'll go inside the cockpit of Steve Tucker instead of put the hood camera there. As he's pretty much caught up to side by side with Baxter at the moment. Top 2 of Oberstedt and Hagen. You see him trying to aggressively side draft, try to get a little extra speed down the straights here. Actually, we'll pull up the basic information. We'll pull up the driver data just to show you. See a little bit of separation here. Baxter going to charge back on that high side. So now we'll go back to the wide shot here. Obviously, it's a shame our throttle and our brake aren't fully set up here, because it'd be cool to see the throttle inputs for these drivers. This would be a good indicator to see if they're trying to save a little bit here. But up front, it's still Oberstedt, Hagen, Baxter, Markowski, Fleming, your top 5. second. We'll take a look at currently in the battle for what will be the last stage point at the moment. Currently in the hands of Matt Bourdon in that 0-0. Back to the Harry Potter 0-0 scheme here. Once again, bit of a one-off for Tucker here as he's gone from full to part-time status. Just here to try to get a checkered flag. Matt Bourdon obviously winning last week, just trying to give himself good momentum heading into the playoffs starting next week. So as that outside line begins to move, a little bit aggressively here, I should say. Check out some other angles we have and try to get a feel of how things are going. So we'll take a look as we see Jared Merchant actually pull out of line there. Jumps from the inside to the outside. He wants to be the lead of the Pied Piper. And this is where it gets interesting. Because as more cars pull out, you don't know how they work in a tandem, how they work in a line. Some are more aggressive, some are more conservative. And that can have an effect, as some drivers just aren't made to be the leader of the train. Their cars may have damage. They may not just have that killer instinct. They may just not be the right car to lead. And you see that effect sometimes as it could really torpedo a line if the wrong driver jumps in front of the train. Obviously, no insult to Virtue, but so you won't fully see what he's doing here until the line gets moving. However, it is indicative, especially with some damage on that front end from pushing. It's very minor, so it shouldn't affect anything, but we see Tom Sears electing to pull out a line there. See if we get a good angle here. Whether he's checking to the back or if he wants to try to move forward and couldn't find a buddy is unknown. But considering he's really staying out of the groove here, I think he just wants to head to the back of the line here and not risk junking that Stellar Blade 14. Josh Battles as well, pulling out of line here, as he is also heading to the back of the queue here. Usually when cars pull out, it's not a good sign. Usually they don't feel comfortable, someone up there. They feel like someone's over-aggressive, and they want to keep that car clean. So they're both going to pull back here, so keep an eye on that middle groove. Well, again, whether it's strategy, whether they just don't feel comfortable, is unknown, as we don't have full communication, but it's at least worth noting. Back up front, it's still Patrick Oberstadt leading the way with Hagen in tow. Shades of Atlanta all over again. With Ross Baxter, Dale McCurst, and Chris Fleming, we've seen some changes, but when we've done these updates, not much has fully changed. Jared Merchant leads that outside line with, I believe that's 51 of Briley Wright helping in tow. Another sign that, especially when we know pit stops could loom in the stage, if we keep an eye on that inside line. As the stage goes longer and cars run long, when they want to pit, they will occasionally try to pull into that inside line quickly and just try to get out of the outside line so they can, keep their strategies open if there's a late call to pit here. Obviously, we're not indicative yet, but we've seen some cars pull and pull down. Not at a high enough level, I would say it's indicative that the window is approaching, but at the very least, is interesting to note. We'll actually see here is when the information was updated. We'll see real fast here when we got this second. Looks like, nope, the information is not fully updated, I think. 25 to 30 could be correct. But if we look at 25 to 30, at least the range when they came in. Because use that information is sometimes updated, sometimes isn't. It just comes down to when the program is made. So keep that number in mind as we watch this run play out. Speaking of, if we get a little closer here as we've been using that wide shot, Steve Tucker now getting that outside line, the move along with Jared Merchant. However, they are leaving some gap here, but we see some pit stops here. We'll keep it on for a second. We'll see first car coming in. That's going to be Tommy Withers, 16 of Edward Marshall, I think may have just missed the pit lane possibly. But he'll get in. Steph Wanzing and Chris Burton all in here to make their stop. So they will be the first of the runners here to pit. So obviously when first cars pit, it usually means we are coming close to the window. And if that is indicative, it shows these cars can maybe only make it about 15 laps. But obviously we're on 33, stage ends at 50. that would be about 15 laps, so maybe they're just cutting it in half. Obviously, some drivers will like to go farther. Like I said, with bonus points being awarded for leading a lap and also having the fastest lap, there is indicative reason. But now you can see it is a pit lane party here as cars are in. Some drivers very conservative. Markowski, Vordon, Mongold, very conservative, and they are going to lose some spots possibly because of it. But they are going to come in with a big gaggle of cars, as we'll show you on the pit road information here. There we go. I had to find the right button. There you can see it is a 11 cars on pit lane here. And again, obviously, oh, Vordon missed his box. That is going to be costly as we see him pit in, his drivers pull away. So we're going to go back up to the race front here. Right now, Ross Baxter leading the way. I think he did lead that lap, so give him one extra point for his troubles. Obviously, again, not really in a shot to really point his way in, but again, you never know when one extra point can play a factor. So he will now come on in along with, looks like, the Toyotas and the UE Esports cars. But you can see, again, where conservatism on the brakes can lead to your doom. You saw the 34 Feather Place make a big time by being aggressive on the brakes. He's in along with Wright, Dixon, and Wood. Back up front, Jared Merchant now leads the train in that triple-digit car. If Merchant were to win, I think, again, we'll have the A-squared statisticians confirm or deny this, but I believe he would be the first triple-digit car to win an A-squared Cup Series race. So all glory to him if he can find victory in that triple-digit machine. So right now it's Merchant, Tucker, Roberts, Galloway, Sears, your top five. Sears, Merchant, and Roberts, remember, did top off coming down pit lane one extra time before we took the green flag, but all of them are in except for Tucker, Sears, and a few others. So 3 more cars will peel off, and now we'll go wide shot here. And that will now leave Tucker. They'll actually catch Brian Johnson here and put him one down. So here's Brian Johnson. Did not get busted for speeding, so it looks like he just had a slow spot and may have lost the draft. And that he'll now get moved around. Luckily, though, being in this pack, he should be able to get some good tow, and it could be a fight for the lucky dog. At the moment, just look to see if anyone got busted for speeding. At the moment, no one has been busted. Everyone taking mostly fuel only. Brian Dixon took 4 tires. Looks like he, again, lost the draft, so he will also get caught here and put one down as well. So we'll keep an eye pit lane here, then we'll check on what's going on in the second pack here. It is beginning to get a bit battly here, but we'll cut in. Most of the field now in. This is pretty much everyone else all in, except for Nicholas Pressey, who did not get the memo. But that's everyone else. But Pressey, I think, is getting helped by Brian Johnson. So everyone else is now officially in. Nicholas Pressey's our race leader. We'll go one extra lap with the tow of Brian Johnson there. Up front, this is what the lead pack could possibly be as they'll work their way around Edward Marshall here and put him further in the pack as they've caught him. Actually, I think they're going to put him one down. Yep, he's now going one down. So at the moment, Oberstadt, Hagen, Markowski battles your top 4. We'll go on board with Patrick Oberstadt, who de facto will be race leader. Just to show you, going earlier in the run here has its advantages. They will zoom on by most of these cars. Furthest car off the track is Steve Tucker, and they'll pass him. Then you obviously see Tom Sears, who took the gamblest of gambles, and he'll get caught here and passed as well. So that will put Patrick Oberstadt now officially in the second. So the rest of the cars will begin to blend, and we'll take a pack look here once everyone gets fully organized here. But right now it's still Nicholas Pressey out alone here. So looking at the math, you can make it maybe about 15-ish laps. Obviously, Pressey right now came in last at 16. So he has pushed it well over 22 laps. So it looks like the window is about 15 to 20. And this is really going to be indicative of when you can maybe see the last pit stop blend off. Because if we look at him making about 25 laps, the earliest you could maybe come in is 25. Well, 25, but obviously he'll come in now. So it seems to be the most aggressive you could be, as he's way locked up there. But he will now officially be in. So that means when the field cycles around, Patrick Oberstadt will take the race lead. And for the viewers at home, it looks like the window max goes about 22 laps, and the earliest we see drivers pitting is about a little over 15, 16. So between 16, 22, or 15, 16, 22, depending on how much you want to save and how aggressive you can be on saving the fuel. But now you see what I was talking about. Separation is a thing you see here, and it's beginning to play its factor. And this is what we'll see possibly in the final stage too. If it runs green, is depending on how aggressive the car is, it can open up a deficit and make it a differing pack. For instance, Jared Merchant, as we see him getting caught, he was obviously leading that train, but he was one of the few drivers that got busted for speeding in the later stops, along with Edward Marshall, hence why they both got put one down here. And that has really put a quagmire on their current running. So the pack will eventually catch him, and he'll have to try to latch on. But inside this pack, they go all the way up to P9. Actually, P8, I think Sears is now, yeah, in that second groove. So John Smeal is the last car in this pack here. So top 6, currently making it a race for themselves for the big haul of stage points here. And with Oberstadt, Hagen pretty much being, maybe not mathematically locked in, but pretty much, I would say, healthy above the line. Obviously, Hagen locked in by points. They don't need these points. However, looking at Markowski, Battles, the Black Ass Racing drivers, John Smeal on part-time effort, but Adams. Right now, like we're talking about, Adams was 30 above the line. Didn't get any stage points. He finishes where he finishes. He gets 5 added to his total and puts 5 on him to the line, making it more comfortable and less likely if he suffers a late race accident, him get jumped out. But look at Josh was talking about Battles and Markowski. There's a risk that Black Ass Racing may have to sacrifice one driver to get the other one in, or the scenario both maybe not make it. But with right now both of them running well, Markowski fully leapfrogs his way in, and with McDonough now being outside the top 10, Battle should get back in a bit by getting a little extra deficit as well, and should extend that gap inside the top 16. Because obviously coming into the stage, both Battles and Pinell didn't get stage points. The gap was 1. But now with Battles at the moment poised to maybe get 7 stage points. Obviously that could go higher or lower depending on what happens. But it's worth noting in the sense that he's riding pretty enough to at least give himself a good cushion. Same thing with Markowski to give themselves at least some comfort heading into the final stage where they may not need a win. Obviously, you still want to get the win and avoid the headache of math. But at the very least, you want to help yourself out where you can. Speaking of that second pack, being now currently led by, I think, Steve Tucker, is Tucker, Gaiman, Sears, Roberts, Fleming, and Vordon in this pack. And then also Mongold, Kent, Feemster have caught toe as well. It's then about a 4-second gap to the next train of Pressey, Featherplace, Wright, Baxter, Wansing, Galloway, and McDonough. But if we look at the times, because this is indicative, you have to get in line, have to work together, and not really toe out. And looking at the moment, a life raft could be coming there in Jared Merchant, as he is kind of staying on touch with the top 6. But at the same point, that could be just enough toe to give Gaiman enough lunge to get caught up to the second groove here. Now, obviously, whether or not they make it there before we hit lap 50 is unknown at the moment. But looking at the times, they are closing it down at least a little. We cut out here wide. We'll actually pull up to our race leaders. This is going to be very indicative to show you. That is the wrong button. But if we look at up the speed, there we go. It's a 1.67 gap, so we'll watch Tucker here. And if he can get that toe off Merchant, just get enough of that draft, that could open up now a fight for these last stage points here and could change the status quo. And you can see right now, I think he's fully got it here, or at least he's close to, as we just saw him shave at least a couple tenths off there. So more than likely, Tucker's now got it. He has fully got the draft now. So second pack has now caught first pack. And they're going to make this a race with themselves. You can see right now they're going to zoom by Merchant. Don't want to risk getting caught by him and being possibly on the slower side with some of that damage. And they want to make sure that now that they got there, they can fight a little bit between themselves. John Smeal also going to pull out as well here, knowing that he was kind of stuck as the last car on that line. He wants to go up there and help his teammate Hagen, or team driver, I guess, as he's the team boss of Smeal Racing Designs. He wants to try to help out his company there, ensure they can get forward here, and try to help Hagen out where he can, or even take the flag himself. Fast lap of the book, Chris Fleming just took it there as being one of those cars in that second pack that did that drive to get caught up here. So still up front, Oberstadt, Hagen, they lead the way. Markowski battles now Smeal in 5th as he's now leading that second train there as they try to push forward. Currently battle for the Lucky Dog, I believe. Just doing a quick head count here. I believe Marshall and Merchant are the only two one down at the moment, but I think they are close to catching a pack of Johnson, Dixon, and Pinnell before this stage out. And if that is the case, this could be a run and a fight for that lucky dog. As obviously the cars could take the wave around. There is a risk that if you take the wave around, you may be bad off strategy and could be in a world of hurt if the pack catches, if you have to pit on the green. So as you can speak here, if we quickly got a second, we'll go on board with Patrick Robertson to show you. They're pretty a healthy distance away, so I don't think they'll get caught. Reference, there's Patrick Overstat, and if we cut to for last car on the train, Brian Johnson, they are currently going through the tribal. So, yeah, they will not be caught here at the moment, more than likely. So they should be able to stand the lead lap here between the three of themselves. Speaking of the driver that's looking to do it the hard way, Jared Merchant, remember, he's battling Edward Marshall for that lucky dog. If Merchant is able to get ahead of Overstat before we see the flag on 50, he can just take, get caught to the tail end, and Marshall could take the lucky dog. So there is strategy in the sense of trying to unlap yourself the hard way if you can do it. As he now leads that high train along with Smeal, Gaiman, and Sears. I do wonder, as these laps tick by, will Markowski, will Battles elect to pull out of line here? Obviously, you're comfortable getting stage points. It's a good haul per both Oberstadt and Battles. But at the same point, winning that stage gets you extra playoff point if you do make the playoffs. So there is an incentive maybe trying to pull out here. Right now, though, it looks like that high line's going a little bit too fast for Battles to pull out. And obviously, you don't want to leave your teammate in the dust if you can help it, as he's one of your main rear gunners in your assistants. Oberstadt will lead that lap again, as he's I think he's led the most laps here tonight, either he or Hagen. But I think that stage 2 is definitely pushed out here. And actually, he can just check the laps led here. Yeah, 20 of 47 for Oberstadt, 13 for Hagen, as they have led the majority of this race. I think Markowski's at 5. So again, as I have alluded to, stage will end officially on lap 50. So we are coming close to seeing the end of the stage here. Really last stage point is, I know I'm probably a little bit over talking about points, but this is the cutoff race for the playoffs. This is where points matter and stage points matter. And currently in that hand right now, it is a fight between Mongold and Roberts there. And right now, Roberts currently in 11th, Steve Tucker now in 10th. No driver outside the top 10 is really, Kevin Feemster would be the only driver that really could use some points here, as he's on that high line at the outside. Merchant going to get juggled out here, so now Smeal will lead that train and see if they can make a late charge here with 2 to go. Yep, stage does end on 50, just double checking. So this time by, they'll have 2 to go in the stage. Pit lane officially closed as they come by here, even though I doubt anyone would elect to pit anyway. Looks like Markowski's getting a little bit antsy here now that Adams leads that high train. Again, I wonder if he's thinking, should I pull out? Should I be comfortable riding? Is 2 points, is 8 good enough? Or should I risk getting 10? Or should I risk it and, possibly risk going fall back? It's risk and reward. Does he want to press his luck? But right now, getting boxed in by Adams is not going to help him. As they come down the backswitch for the final time in stage number 2. Oberstadt, Hagen, Markowski, your top 3. Adams currently in that last car on the outside line. And Markowski not going to try to settle for 3rd in the stage. He wants the glory of it. He'll take that Youngstown machine to the high side. Rip it around Hagen. Does he have anything for Oberstadt? Oh, Adams going to pull out and ditch them both. It's going to be a 3-wide battle here for the lead. As it comes to the trial over here, Adams going to lose toe. Smeal going to push, and Markowski is going to win the stage. Smeal in 2nd, Gaiman in 3rd, Adams in 4th. So the gamble pays off for the Youngstown driver, and he is going to get the max 10 points here. So that worked to perfection, and he will get the max stage points here. And as they get cycled up here, we'll take a quick look here how everything plays out for stage number 2. Give him just a second. Actually, we'll give him 1 second here to get fully organized here. Let him get it settled out. But again, just what the doctor ordered for Markowski. Max points in stage 2 here, and he is doing what he needs to do to make it work. So now they've pretty much gotten out of line here. We'll now show you how everyone ended in Stage 2. Markowski takes the full 10. John Smeal gets 9. Patrick Oberstadt will get 8 points. Josh Gaiman will get the next total. Then Jonathan Adams, even though it says Adams 4th, Gaiman 5th, but see if they switch it. Same thing we saw with Hagan and that, but they never did switch back, so we'll go with that preemptively. John Hagan will get 6th in the stage. Tom Sears will get 7th. Kevin Feams will get some good points. He'll finish 8th. Josh Battles will fall down to 9th. And Austin Mongold will get the last place points here in stage number 2. So as they get the pace car here, we should see pit lane open this time by. So while they pit, I'm going to do some quick stage math here. And we'll give you a calculation of how this field is going to look and who is running for what coming to the last 50 to go here. So just give us a second here as drivers pit. And we'll come back to you. We'll have some stage map, so don't go anywhere. 10-second break for station ID. So as drivers race off pit lane here, almost done with my calculations. Hagan will win the race off pit lane. Markowski, Smeal, Sears, Beamster, and Adams will be your top 6 as the rest of the cars begin to pull off. Okay, so as the field gets caught up, and I've done some quick math here to try to calculate it. Just going to quickly calculate something here. So Galloway is at 367. Mike LaJoy, who did not show up here today, so that play factor is still at 53. Jonathan Adams has jumped LaJoy, so it's Galloway in 12th, Adams in 13th, LaJoy in 14th. Then Markowski has jumped up 340, so he has put himself a healthy distance ahead of the bubble line, as he is now in 15th. And then last driver in at the moment is Josh Battles, 3 points ahead of Ryan Pinnell, who sits in 16th. Colin McDonough is 1 point still back of Pinnell, so he's 4 back of the line. And then Feemster is 20. Just doing some quick calculations here. 23 back, and Baxter is 298, so he's like well 50 back. So quickly to sum that all up, here's a few drivers come back in, including Gaiman, McDonough, and a few others to top off. So reset the field here. Galloway is not mathematically locked in, but I would say he's pretty much safe at the moment, as he is a healthy distance ahead of the line. Actually, just quickly sum it up. Yeah, he's 40 above the line, so pretty much Galloway has locked his way in. LaJoy not here could cause some troubles. The bar is now to have to catch is 53. Adams is probably safe, but again, if a caution were to come out or he were to fall down the field, was everyone's still running pretty much, he could be in a world of hurt. Markowski's done a big home run shot. He has pulled his way up in. And right now the line is Josh Battles, who is 3 above Pinnell in 16th. So Battles is currently in 16th. Pinnell is in 17th, 3 back, and McDonough is in 18th, 1 back. That is how they shake up right now. Obviously, if we get a new winner, the line then jumps up to Markowski, who is currently 13 ahead of his teammate Josh Battles. So a lot to play for here coming in this final stage. Again, we will give you a full update and try to give you an unofficial result before we get to the end. Again, I know math is not probably the funnest topic to cover, and we wish we had a graph we could throw on the screen, but obviously we're doing the math quickly on the old-fashioned pen and paper. So we are trying to give you that information as quick as we can. So right now, Hagen will be leading the field to restart with Oberstadt in second, Markowski, Smeal in the second row, Sears and Feemster in row 3, Adams, Baxter row 4, Battles and Flemings in row 5. So keep an eye on Josh Battles as he's the last driver in. And if some new winner were to pull their way in, looking at those first couple rows, some of those drivers notable would be Feemster, for instance. If he were to win, Baxter were to win, if he were to find victory, could flip the stage and could flip this whole season on its head. So pace car will pull off, and we will get this show running for the final stage. 47 laps to finish. We'll see if we can keep it green all the rest of the way. Control will be on John Hagen. Green flag is out, and away we go to start the final stage. So as they come through the trial here for the final time in the final stage, they will come across. Hagen will lead that lap similar to what we saw in stage number 1. Cars begin to fan in and out here. Hagen, Oberstadt, Markowski, your top 3. A bit of separation there. You can see his cars now battle further back here. Brian Johnson, one Spiel Race Design sponsored machine jumping in front of another. As they begin to fan in and out here. So he watches a little bit further back here. Pinnell trying to get on the move here, knowing he needs to get as far ahead of Battles as he can, as he now leads that outside train here. We do know one pit stop at least waits in this stage, maybe 2. Well, depending on when they come in, because it's going to be close. We know we saw press it far. But doing that math, they would still have to hit one more time, so there should be 2 pit stops in this final stage here, especially if we get a caution. So at the very least, the cars will have to come down pit lane 2 more times. And that could really, again, I know I'm beating dead horse by saying, you know, flip it on its head. But it quite literally could flip this race on its head if we see 2 pit stops, as that could cause enough separation, especially if it stays green. Hagen still leads the way. Pinnell begins to charge on that outside line here with the help of Feather Place and Galloway. One Bowie Esports car pushing the team owner of Presidential Racing as they try to charge forward here. That's Jonathan Adams who go on with Ryan Pinnell, one further back. And we'll actually go inside the gearbox of Pinnell just to show you how aggressive Feather Place is right now, pushing to try to get that 12 further up here. Pretty much pushing so hard the camera is phasing through the grill work here of the 34 to the point we can see his radiator right there. And the gives kind of a nice view of a cutaway car as he is just pushing that 12, just trying to get him ahead here. And you can push as hard as you want. There's no restrictions on pushing. However, the harder you push, the more likely you could blow the engine. So there is a risk in that strategy. You have to push conservatively, if you will, to make sure you don't blow the engine and risk killing the car, basically, before it can even have a chance to get to the finish line. Oh Markowski got a little checked up there. I think he was thinking about moving, or maybe he got shuffled. Regardless, you can see the effect that had. It almost caused him to get sent to the other way. However, he'll be lucky enough keeping in third place in line. That is going to be the toe that Pennell needs. You know, Pennell is itching to get one lap led here. If he can, that's one extra point that could help him try to close that deficit. He's well clear at the moment of feather place to try to jump down. Galloway will jump down. Pennell will not have the option to. As they come across the line, Pennell will at least lead that lap, so 1 point added to his total. That will help him in the charge. Name we haven't said much about today, Brent Roberts, Seth Wanzing, and Nathan LaJoy, all in that outside line. Hagan thought about it. He was not going to want to sit behind Galloway. He'll jump to the high side. Again, moves you can do with 42 to go now, but they are not moves you're going to be able to pull away with 10 to go. He'll jump back in front of Galloway, so now Hagan basically has a buffer car to Oberstadt there with Galloway in the middle. I do wonder if Oberstadt may try to jump around him if he can, as they've been working quite well together, and I don't think they're inclined to break that up anytime soon, especially with an 05 in the way. But now on that outside line beginning to drift back here. Another car we haven't said much about is Ethan Wood as well. He's having a good drive right now, currently inside the top 10, but he's one of those drivers that needs a win if he wants to fight for the championship starting next week. Looking at the cars here, looks like the 33. Is it me, or does it look like one of his flaps is up? Nah, it's not. Optical illusion with the Youngstown mascot there. Looked like it was up, but obviously this virtual racing should have no effect. But obviously it's just the mascot on the number there, which is kind of But like I was hinting to, Patrick Oberstadt was not comfortable riding behind Galloway there. He's going to jump to the high line, and I assume try to flip-flop and put himself ahead of Hagan. So the dynamic duo of Oberstadt and Hagan trying to work together here, but Oberstadt not really fully getting that full lunge yet. As he's beginning to fall back a little bit, this could be the opening some of these drivers could take to try to break up that Hagan-Oberstadt monotony up front. Oh, big wreck in the back, big wreck in the back. 24 Steve Tucker, Austin Mongold involved. And that is going to be our caution here. First one of the night. Looks like Briley Wright also involved, and that is going to kill the engine. Everyone does presumably still have a faster pair, so it may not be race over for any of those three. But at the very least, Briley Wright, if he has that fast pair, is going to have to use it and take service. So we'll take a look here. Obviously, we'll see if it popped up on the... Did not actually pop up on my info box here, so we're going to have to watch it by hand, and you can see the effect that crash already has had, as that is not an angle you want to be at Talladega going ping-ponging around there. So we're going to play it back here. We'll pause it there, and we're going to go with a nice eye-in-the-sky camera here from the choppa, and we're going to play it at a slower speed here. So right in that middle line, Feemster pushing him. Feemster blinks for a second. Pushing. Oh, did Tucker lose it on his own? Very odd place to kind of lose it. We'll have to watch Tucker. Regardless, that gets Tucker loose. Ping-pongs him in the right. McDonough gets a piece of that incident from Tucker. Then Mongold. Dixon gets slided there. And yeah, that's the effect that it's had at the very least. So we're going to go back. We'll see if we can get a better angle of this. We're going to cut to the 24 Steve Tucker. We may have to manually rewind this just a little. So we'll see if anything happened of note. No one behind Tucker. Ah, the car just kicks. That's very odd. And that gets him in the right. That shoots him around. And obviously, we'll take one more look at that again. We're just going to manually rewind as we can't really get a full angle at this. But we're going to check again. Go on inside the cockpit of Steve Tucker here. I just want to see. Very odd angle to lose it. It almost looks like he got hooked. Like, it just kicks. But there's no one behind him that we can see. Like, it doesn't feel natural. It just makes a noise, and it kicks. And then he ends up going left. So, like, if it was a wheel disconnection or something like that, we would have saw the car keep going left. But it looks like he got help from a ghost. We'll take two more looks at this. We'll go back outside here, and we'll go check. We'll ride on board with Blake Galloway in the, gotta find his 03 machine. But Brian Dixon, I should say. We'll ride on board with him real fast as he's got a good view of this incident. Just brakes. And that's still a very big lick for Briley right there as the rest of the cars fan in. Minor damage for Brian Dixon. We'll take one more look. This time we'll ride on board with the 51 of Briley Wright. We'll go on board with him inside his cockpit and just listen to the sights and sounds of this. Just at one moment, you're riding forward, and next thing you know, you get hooked, and that is not a good feeling in the world. Just an innocent bystander, no clue what's happening, and at that point, you're going 180 into the wall. Back to live action. Bright did use his fast spare, so he is caught back up to the pack, so he will continue onward. We do have another lap of pacing as well. Holefield did elect to come in. As I did allude, there were 2 pit stops on the cards here. We're now down to 1, as they will presumably push it to about 82, and then they'll be good to go to the end. So, more than likely, we have one more pit stop left in this race. Everyone came in. Most took fuel only. Looks like Patrick Oberstadt took 4 tires, so he's going to be in 19th, way a ways from where he was before the caution came out. Other than that, though, it looks like one car's not beaten the 10 count yet. Looks like Patrick Oberstadt is still on pit lane here. Not a lap down yet. No, actually, he is. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, he's at least 1 down here. So I wonder if he did not have a fast forward, did not elect to click it. Matthew Kent as well had over a second worth of damage. Not sure where he got it, but he's elected to fix that car up, maybe from a previous incident. But he will start further back. Everyone else, though, Wright and anyone else involved in the incident either fixed their cars up or elected to take a fast repair. So a few cars elected to come in and top off. Josh Gaiman, Colin McDonough, Kevin Feemster, Chris Burton, Withers, and co. Again, maybe looking to go long, maybe electing to maybe try to hope they can take extra fuel here, trying to flip something, maybe fix up their cars. There's different strategies here, but maybe wanting to stay in the back here. But most are just coming in the top off. So we got in the 1 to go that time by. Hagan, Markowski in row 1. Galloway, Adams will be in row 2. Featherplace, Pinnell, row 3. Baxter, Sears will be row 4. Fleming and Wood will make up the first 5 rows here. Looking at narratives right now, obviously Pinnell is in a battle with Battles. Battles currently sitting in 14th. Right now, if they finish where they're running, it would be Galloway, LaJoy, Galloway, Adams. Obviously, we don't have one. There's obviously points going up. Actually, we'll do some quick math here. Yeah, depending on where they finish, LaJoy could still make it, depending on where the car elects to finish, depending on who's around him. However, at the moment, Pinnell would jump Battles, and now he would be the line with how they run. So as we get ready to get going here again, control will be on John Hagan as they come to green. Obviously, like I was alluding to, Hagan no longer really has his friend in Patrick Oberstadt with him. So Oberstadt's right now in 16th. So there is a situation. Obviously, Hagan is still good at leading the lines, so I doubt he'll really be in any trouble, but he's going to have to work with a new partner here if he wants to stay towards the front, and it does make you wonder, gotta know where your teammates are and gotta know where your friends are. Will we see maybe a shuffling out of some of these cars towards the front? Pace car pulls on off. We're going to get ready here to go for what could be the final restart of the race. I doubt it, just knowing how Talladega is, but I've seen stranger things happen. So let's get this show on the road. Control will be on John Hagan. Green flag is out, and away we go. 36 laps to go. Gets a good launch. Markowski does not really get going the way he needs to on a high line. That's going to allow Baxter, Featherplace, Wood to stay charged on the inside line. Make it a pain. Bit of separation, though, forming out as Galloway is pushed. Hagan well clear of Featherplace. Now, obviously, there's a benefit and a drought with doing that. As obviously, you push far ahead, it's good, you get clear, but the problem is that allows Featherplace, Baxter, to get a bigger toe and be able to reel you back in at a higher speed. So it's helpful, but the problem is it also gives the cars behind a big run that they can use against you. Hagan will lead that lap. Middle lane getting the groove. Even the third lane now being led by Chris Fleming. Inside line being led by, I guess middle lane I should say, being led by Dale Markowski, John Adams, Ryan Pinnell, and that third line, Seth Wanzin. We know, kind of hinted early in stage one, he will be the pioneer of the high line. He's in co with Fleming and Vordon as they're trying to make that third line work. Markowski gonna abandon the middle line, gonna jump back low, knowing he's got the points at the moment. Does not want to maybe throw it away this early. Points are crucial, and he wants to play it safe here. I don't 100% blame him. Again, this is where having good teammates can help you out if you build your situation. If you're a Pinnell, for instance, you know you got to beat Josh Battles. Markowski did his work in the stages, so he knows he can ride a little bit, but doesn't have to fully press himself. As long as he gets a good points haul, he should be safe at the very least. He is poised at the moment. As long as he gets enough points, he'll jump ahead of LaJoy and even give himself an extra car to put a buffer between them. So he knows what he has to do. See if he can play it out. Wanzing. We know, hey, it wouldn't be a Talladega race or plate race. We didn't see him, like I said, do that high line. He is now trying to charge towards the front here. You know, the people at Midwest Barbecue will love it if they see that 5 head towards the lead. Fleming pushing him. Currently got up to third. Will he elect to stay in the high line or jump in front of Adams? They're currently side by side, just inside the top 5. Take a chance. We'll ride on board with Chris Fleming here. He's got a pretty good seat here on that triple lane. Now pushing Adams. Valvoline car thinking about what to do here. He feels confident on that third groove. He has the distance, but there is concern if you do split the lines. You can push each other down. Wanzing gonna jump at the last second there. Maybe got a little bit of a bad push. Who knows? He'll now be in front of Adams. Fleming and Vordon left to dry on that middle groove. Like I said, you can do those moves at a certain point, but eventually it's going to end up with you getting dumped if you're not careful. You don't want to be a day late in the Dollar Shorts. They'll take the middle groove. 3 wide for 6th on back here. So 3 abreast. Top 5 all single file, as you see on the shot of Hagan, Galloway, Markowski, Featherplace, and Baxter. As they try to get Baxter pulled back into the conga line of Wanzing and Fleming here. Try to make this a race. Up. Looks like that high line is beginning to lose a little bit of steam here as they're not fully in lockstep as they once were. Big gap between Fleming and Vordon. Now they're getting back in tow here. Bit of a gap opening up on that inside line. So it's going to close up by Wood. Adams going to jump to the high line. Does not feel comfortable pushing Wanzing as they begin to move further back here. Now both cars are going to fall inside the top 10. As you can see again, desperation beginning to pull form here. If we stay green to the end and green flag pit stops do happen, you want to be as far up as possible to make sure you're in that final pack battling for the win. So knowing that situation, drivers are going to get more and more desperate knowing that you can't, if we don't get a late caution and a bailout caution, you want to be as high as you can for when those pit stops occur. Brent Roberts is going to jump up in front of Wanzing here. As that middle, feels like at this point that high line is going to have to congregate behind Roberts' middle line here if they want to have any chance to get towards the front. But obviously, no honor among thieves. We'll cut back up to the race lead. It's still John Hagan leading the way. Galloway, Markowski, Featherplace, Baxter, your top 5, equal to 6. Galloway, Markowski, Baxter, and Roberts have yet to win this season. And Wood. First wins. Now the middle line finding life with Roberts in tow. They want to take the lead. Unsponsored 84, who won the last plate race Talladega last season, is looking to go back-to-back. He'll jump in front of Hagan. Wansing can't follow suit. He'll now be pushed by Pennell here with Sears in tow as they push outward. Cars fan in and out. Can Wansing, Pennell, and Sears get enough tow to overtake Roberts here? Or is that just enough for one car to make it? We'll keep an eye on here. Roberts will lead that lap with Hagan pushing him. Hagan going to jump out line, push in front of Wansing. Hagan does not want to be anyone's second fiddle as he's going to try to get back around Roberts here. Put another car in his coalition. Oh, Sears thinking about staying in line here. Maybe pulling out, maybe trying to make a third line work. Help him to get a little closer. Oh, Wansing jumps in front of Pennell. Yeah, you see right there, the 14 is going to try to make a third line happen here with Adams. We'll cut back to Wansing, trying to get whatever he can get with Pennell here. Sears did not think that second line would work. Jared Merchant going to jump to the low line, and I think that's going to kill any chance the middle line has, but hold on a second. Roberts not comfortable with Hagan in front of him. He's going to jump back to the high side along Galloway. Roberts leads that lap with Galloway and Wansing, your top three here. And they all will be able to jump down here, so they leave Pennell like a cold dog out in the rain as he's now with Kent and McDonough in that middle groove. Keep an eye on the further back here. We'll keep an eye on the race lead. We obviously know Hagan's been shuffled back. He's going to look for the first exit ramp to get forward if he can help it. But right now is in a box. Ryan Pennell leads that second pack there. Third line led by Tom Sears. Currently Sears back in 20th now. So he is not making that third line work the way he needs to work. Keep an eye on the front. Roberts still leads the way. It's Roberts, Galloway, Wansing, Hagan, Pennell, your top five. They're going to catch a lap down machine. I believe that is Austin Mongold just up the road. Yep, it is Austin Mongold. His wound machine, obviously, in that incident, could not get the fast pair clicked or already used the fast pair. So he's just trying to hang on here and maybe be a helper wherever he can for his fellow teammates. Hagan now jumps that high line. He's now getting help with Pennell here. Like I was alluding to, he was not going to want to ride here. He knows he feels comfortable leading the trains. He wants to be towards the front. If he falls back at a certain point, he will pull back and try to make something happen here. You can see how aggressive he's willing to side draft. That's why he's got a championship on his belt, as he's going to do whatever he can to get that one towards the front. Also, why he has the one this season. Try to clear Roberts. Got the pull he needs. Kent is actually going to be able to pull down. Pennell not going to follow suit. Going to get left out to dry again. Matthew Kent going to now pull in line and work with Hagan. Now Pennell will get down, but Roberts going to shift up around him. McDonough pushing, and they are racing hard like we're racing to 5 to go. We're coming to 25 to go. Is now Kent is on that low, now moving that middle groove to try to lead the train with Roberts. Pennell now on that low groove with Hagan. We are getting antsy. They know we're coming close to a pit stop window. You want to get as far up the road as you can. And they know it's go time. You do not want to be caught back. Because if we get a late caution, we know at least half this pack will not be potentially win unless another caution were to drop. Kent now leading the way. Got his first podium last week. Looking to try to go back-to-back podiums and even get a win on his card here as he leaves that low train. Obviously, with Kent's ride last week, he's not in a spot where he has to worry, but a win, again, would get him some playoff points that could help him over the next 3 rounds. That time by, Kent will lead that lap. So it's Kent, Hagan, Roberts, McDonough, Pennell. Obviously, the map will get interesting with McDonough and Pennell being so close. 1 point, I think, separates both of them, if I remember correctly. He's now bumped gap to 2 points. race. Right now, Pinnell is still ahead of McDonough at the very least, but now Pinnell beginning to fall back on the inside line as McDonough now up to second. So Pinnell now out again as McDonough is now leapfrogged his way in. Battle's also out with 24 to go. Kent not comfortable sitting in third in line. He's going to go high side. Dale Markowski. Big move there to jump into the low groove there. Going to try to stop the bleeding. Back up towards the front. Kent with the 94 of Pressey is currently on that high groove. Oh, elbows out as Pinnell and Kent get the speed wobbles there. Almost take each other to a path of ruin. However, they keep it all pointing in the right direction. Cars fanning out. Cars making moves. No one giving an inch so far. We still have 23 laps left and a pit stop still on the cards. If you're home, take bets whether or not we'll make it to that pit stop window without a caution. I believe in these drivers. However, you never know with the high banks of Talladega. Roberts, McDonough on that low line. Hagan, Kent trying to make that high groove work. Keep an eye on Kevin Feemster. He's in a must-win. He is in 8th, 4th car in that inside line. Jared Merchant and John Smeal, they want to go to the front here. They're going to make that third line work. We'll see if anyone elects to jump up towards the front. Oh, McDonough gets a little close to that line. You don't want to bottom out because that could kick the car if you get too low there on that apron. Also, if you go below the yellow line and make a pass, it is illegal. Towards the front, Kent. Pressey, they're going to push clear here. Kent is clear, but not clear enough to jump down. Briley Wright, remember we saw that big rack burn his fast pair. He is now up into the top 10 here. Feemster going to jump low. He knows it's all to play for here. He knows it's checker flag or bust. He'll go low here and jump third car on the inside line. Kent, Hagan, side by side this time by, coming at 21 to go. Hagan will lead that lap. Kent's trying to make what he can make work here. Ooh, Pressey gets a little squirrely, but he'll keep it pointed. And this is probably some points the helpless feeling in the world if you're a car like pick a random one in the middle of the pack here. Ryan Pinnell, currently kind of trapped on that low groove. Your main rival's ahead of you, and you know there's really nothing you can do to go forward here. You just gotta hope holes opportunities and holes play. Like right there, Pressey got shuffled out of that middle groove. And now you see, I think Bren Roberts has jumped up towards the front. He did. We're going to cut back to the wide shot. Pressey going further back. Roberts and Kent will clear in front of Hagan. Roberts will lead that lap, showing why he's found victory at Talladega before. 20 laps to go here. We do a race recap, but there's just not enough time as we are seeing the moves of a race happening here in fast forward as cars are beginning to make moves, but I think we're coming close to a window. As you can see, that outside line very unfilled. I think everyone's cutting their cards here and trying to get down low, but move for the lead of the race. Matthew Kent pulls out again, hoping someone would go with him. Going to try to get some hex or toe here from Briley Wright in that 51. Tom Sears. But we know we officially have entered the window where you can make it to the end on a tank of gas, but obviously the later you go, if we get a green white checker, we may have enough fuel. So drivers have to be wary as well, as being at Talladega Daytona, there is the risk of green white checkers. Roberts, Hagan on that low groove. Got some separation. Feemster and Kent battling it out for third. Kent now charging forward in that Bucky's machine. Looking to spark the light at the best time he can. Just with the playoffs around the corner. Getting pushed clear at the moment with Wright's help. Not fully clear yet. Still side by side. Roberts will lead that lap. But Kent is pushing hard. Oh, Roberts! Don't know if it was netcode. Don't know if he got kind of dummied. But he has gotten sent to the back here, and he is off, and he is going to hit that outside wall. No contact from what we could see. as far as we could tell. So obviously no incident of note, but that's going to take Roberts out of this race and out of contention for the win. Again, no contact from what we could tell, but obviously it looked like maybe Netcode sent him out, and it could have ended his race here. Obviously, if we get a caution here late, we may take a look, see what happened. Now pit stops are officially open, so the window's open. Everyone and their mother is coming in this time by. This is the money stop, the crucial stop. You do not want to speed now, or it could be catastrophic. Gaiman gets into Pennell. Pennell gets into Adams. They box their way in. I do wonder if some drivers may have missed their boxes. They're getting pushy back there. So it is a smorgasbord of drivers. 12th to 29th all on pit lane here. And it leaves the 11th out. So that's at least 17 drivers on pit lane as we speak. Bigger than the battle box we have. Tom Sears leads the way. Bradley Wright also looks like he got shuffled out too there. He's on the apron. Maybe he ran out of fuel. Yeah, he is way slow on the apron here. I do think he may have ran out of fuel here. So Bradley Wright, again, mistake there going one lap too long. Looks like the rest of the field is in this time by as well. Yep, everyone is in this time by. So we're going to watch the blend. We're going to watch the situation. Up towards the front pack. Kent going to lead the train off pit lane. Took fuel only for his troubles. He's going to get linked up with Fleming, Gaiman, and Hagen, it seems. And they're going to try to pull some separation. The next groove of Pennell and Adams. As you can see, a big gap there. That actually could be the gap they need to pull away here and make this a 4-car 10 between themselves. You know, right now, do not fight. Work together and keep this race moving forward. Keep an eye on Matthew Kent here. Keep an eye on the left of your screen. Tom Sears did just leave pit lane. Wood, Pressey, McDonough, all of them leaving. Oh, a bit of puff of smoke there. Drivers getting checked up. That is not what you want to see if you're in that second pack. Don't know if they got it in order there. As they file out, we'll actually just manually rewind here as they're going to get caught here. So we're going to take a quick second. Comes through the power of video editing. We're going to go back here and just see what happened. You do not see braking on the straightaway usually happen. Cut the Ross Baxter in this pack here. Oh, looks like they got checked up. Yeah, 17 of Feemster. Something happened with Feemster. Oh, him and McDonough got tucked together, and that's going to cost both of them. That checked up the rest. So that is going to have major effects, as obviously Feemster was in a must-win, and he's now fallen back here with McDonough pretty much needing a miracle to find victory. Let's get settled back here. Try to close the graphic. Went a little bit further back. 16, now 15 to go, matching their current race leader, Matthew Kent. It's a 4-car breakaway at the moment. Next pack, led by Ryan Pennell, is 3 seconds adrift. We'll keep an eye on their times. This is basically Pennell, Adams, Wanzing, Galloway, Merchant, Markowski, Sears, Wood, Pressey, Battles, all in this pack. And Johnson, don't forget Ryan Johnson. Keep an eye on the interval screen here. Obviously, they got more cars, but the problem is it's not indicative to be able to close gaps. With these new next gens, you can have 4 or 5 cars in a pack, and you can make that work. And as you can see by the speeds, they are not at the moment doing what they need to do. They're going to have to go head down here. Keep an eye on this interval. Pennell right now, you could argue, even though a win would be very helpful for him, he may not even be wanting to win this race. As we go by the math of the points, looking at that top 4, Kent would not displace anyone with a win. Gaiman wouldn't displace anyone with a win. Fleming wouldn't displace anyone with a win. And Hagen wouldn't displace anyone with a win. It looks like a few more cars getting caught up here in this patch. We're going to jump up for a second. They're going to pick up Austin Mongold for their troubles. And I think, yeah, that's it they're going to catch here. They're going to get Mongold, so they're going to get one more car in this groove. Now giving them 5 cars. But to finish my point, though, as we stay on the speed graphic here, they are now actually catching good point here. Now they're losing some time. Maybe Mongold could be that helper, but we'll note that in just a second. They're going to have to work tooth and nail. But to finish my point, yeah, they are now losing time again with this. But to finish my point, though, because I know I said it twice, but now I'm actually finish it. Looking at the situation now, Pennell would be good. Math-wise, looking at his main rivals, which were Battles and McDonough currently sits in 23rd, and Battles is enough points back behind him as they were only separated by 3 points, actually 1 point, and with Battles in this pack, but Battles currently sitting in 17th. He's fallen to the next pack. Pinnell is in the points catbird seat to get himself in. It's weird in the sense that he probably doesn't want to catch him. He'd be better off staying where he is, because looking in this pack, if Ethan Wood were to win this race, if Brian Johnson, they get caught, were to win this race, could flip this on his head, but as well, Pinnell has not won in the ARCS Cup Series. They're closing up time. They will catch Willie in this race, but they're just indicative that sometimes you got to play the playoff game. At the same point, racers at heart want that checkered flag. They want a race. And obviously, if he were to hold up the pack, he would get caught and pass. So he's going to have to keep going, but he may be getting led to an ultimate destruction if he's not careful. Up front, though, it is still Kent, Fleming, Gaiman, Hagan, your top four. So they're making this race for themselves. Austin Mongold here in 5th. Has no, I think, allegiance to anyone in this top 4 as he's a parliamentary, but I think he may have some contingencies with Hagan. But other than that, though, it's not really enough. Mongold obviously dealing with a wounded machine. I think he did burn a fast break to get it back to full speed, but he's multiple down. 2 to be exact. Gap is now 2.55 seconds between Kent and Adams with 11 laps to go. Again, they will catch if we stay green. This is where you got to make those big moves, those tough choices. If you're Fleming, when do you make your move? Well, I was going to say when he makes the move, he's going now. He wants to get this win here. He won the first race of the season in Daytona. He'll pull back in line, though, not knowing they don't have really the energy or the cars to do it. And in turn, they're actually going to maybe beneficially try to drag them back to that next pack and try to give themselves some more ammunition and try to make moves work here. Coming to 10 laps to go. This is shaping up for one heck of a finish. We'd like to thank everyone for tuning here in ABN Studios. Hope you've enjoyed this race so far, as this is going to be a finish for the ages. Kent, Gaiman, Fleming, Hagan, no impact if either of them four were the win. They're all in the playoffs, or at the very least, maybe not locked in by a win, but they're all locked in via points. So win or points, so they are not fighting for this contingency. They're actually going to catch a car here. Gaiman looks like he may try to flip Kent here. And he's actually not going to. He's going to pull out of line. Fleming going to slide in. It's Brent Roberts they're catching. Gaiman now going to fall down the third. Fleming, second car in line. Maybe going to try to work with Hagan. We know they have a bit of an interesting history. Pinnell and co. have now caught the pack here, second pack. And you can see right now them being proactive up front. We're actually going to cut back up to the proactive pack, as they know they're going to displace Brent Roberts here, get back in line, and now here they are. Pinnell, Wanzing, Galloway, Merchant, the rest. Ethan Wood just set the fast trap in this race. 1 point is not going to help him, but at the very least, it may steal it from someone else. They may try to go for the fastest lap here and get that one extra point. If we stay green, your winner is going to probably come from this pack of 14 cars. As right now, Adams leading that second train is currently about 5 seconds back, as he's actually lost touch of that pack here. And I think he may have some damage as he is beginning to fall back here. So second pack currently at the moment 4 seconds back, unless they get a caution. This is going to be your crew of winners here. It's going to come from this pack. 8 laps to go. Kent still leads the way. Roberts not in contention anymore. He's going to try to help Fleming, though. Obviously, at the moment, I think Roberts is, he is, if he can get his lap back here, he'll be back on the lead lap. Talented lead lap, so he's fighting for the lucky dog here if we get a late caution and try to challenge for this. So he has a right to fight. Airheads machine of Fleming pushes clear. Roberts, Galloway, they're both going to go low here. Leave Fleming out to dry. Textbook as you like. Roberts not technically in this race. Your current leader is Blake Galloway in that 05. You're not getting excited. You are not feeling a pulse. 7 laps to go at the moment. Fleming and Markowski pushing on that high side. Markowski in on points at the moment with the stage points, but knowing this is crucial, Burton's going to be a bit of a pick here. He's going to cause the checkup that would allow Fleming and Markowski to clear. Other lap cars up the road, including LaJoy. Nathan LaJoy, to be exact. Helpful, we got a little closer. Fleming, Markowski, Pinnell on that high side. Inside line consists of Brent Roberts, who's not battling for position, Galloway, and the 005 Jared Merchant. Trying to be the first triple-digit winner in A-squared history. Galloway going to go high, knows he can't stay boxed in with Roberts. Merchant likes that deal, he'll stay low. 6 laps to go. Galloway goes low, Fleming stays high. A win would mean so much for Fleming, who won the season opener, is looking to get his second win of the season and join the 2 winners club only occupied by Hagan and Zach Millett. Would be a momentum shot to him. Galloway has yet to win. Coming in tonight was almost locked in by points, but knowing he needed a good run, a win would definitely turn his future and his fortunes around. They begin to separate out here. They're going to catch Edward Marshall, and I believe one other car here. It should be the it of the lappers. They'll get around here. Keep an eye on Brian Johnson up to 6th. Highest of the drivers that would need a win to shake this up here. Oh, something's happened up front, and speaking maybe of a commentator's curse, Johnson collected, Merchant collected. We stay green, and that will be the caution. And if Brian Johnson, we don't know what happened, but he was involved in something that happened with the 009 machine of Jared Merchant, who's had a tow at the pit lane. Obviously, we're looking back, and something big has happened. Obviously, he's de facto leader right now, but they'll catch him when he gets the situation here. So let's take a look here and see what happened. Maybe something's happened with Chris Burton, too. It looks like he may have been a separate incident. So let's go further up here and watch Jared Merchant here. So we're trying to find the right angle. There we go. So Jared Merchant is here. We'll go with a better angle here. And then we'll wind. Oh, looks like it's a bad bump is what caused this. We'll go with the eye on the sky camera here, and we'll play it out at a 4th speed. Kent gets a run. Merchant tries to cover it off. Kent keeps going up. Merchant keeps going up, which you have to in this situation to try to get the push. And right there on the corner panel, that sends Merchant into the wall. It shoots him down. And at that point, nowhere for Brian Johnson to go. Up his speed differential sends Giant right in there. Markowski with an avoidance that saved his career. Sears, though, gets sent around. We're going to stay on this replay just see what happens here. Oh, Sears gets Hagan, and then Pinnell gets sent sideways. We'll have to play out the rest of it to see what happens in the second incident. Yet Pinnell then gets collected as well, and he gets a couple taps for his troubles. So one incident spawned a couple more cars getting damaged there. We'll take a second look, obviously. This time we'll ride on board with Brian Johnson, and then we'll take a look at the second incident here. Yeah, there's the bump. Just nowhere for Johnson to go. And you can see the effect that had, and then you can see Talladega claims a couple. We'll go another angle. This time we'll focus on up the road here. We'll focus on Ryan Pinnell at another angle here just to see what happened. There's the contact. Sears gets sent sideways. That flips Pinnell. And then that gets him into Wanzing. Pressing gets some contact. And then right back into Ethan Wood. So obviously big damage there for Pinnell, who needed a good finish. And this could shake everything on its head. We'll take one more look here as we do want to make sure we get time to get back and set the field here. So we'll take one more look. This time we're on board with Markowski, who had a wild ride to avoid all this. Sometimes lady luck falls to your fortune. Back to live action. Obviously, Merchant, Wanzing, they have some damaged machines. They're on pit lane. Brian Johnson, Smeal as well. Up front, we still got one more lights of the pace car here. Now we officially have entered, we're going to enter green-white checker territory, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. Let me just take one quick check. Here's obviously we're focused on the replays there, not the lights. So just 1 second. Yep. Nope, we are still okay. We're not officially in green-white checker territory yet. But obviously 3 to go. They'll take the 1 to go at 2 to go. So they will officially get extended into a green-white checker. So we will see our first green-white checkered attempt in just a second. So now it takes up to set the field. Galloway leads this race. Fleming in second. Kent Gaiman, Markowski, your top 5. Galloway obviously in at the moment. Well, with the win, he's in, but he was in on points anyway. Fleming won the 500. Kent in on points as well. Gaiman in on points as well. And Dale Markowski, if he were to find victory, would make the day where he needed to go aggressive to get in will work out a treat for him. But he just wants to make sure he stays in the top 5 and he'll be good. Looking at the rest of the top 10, Pressy in 6, part-time entry. Wins doesn't mean anything. Ethan Wood came into the night 21st in points, was needing a Hail Mary throw, and right now, at the very least, he's 7th. He's getting himself a chance. Sears, part-time entry. Win would only mean just for pride. Withers obviously won at Auto Club this season. And Patrick Oberstadt was in on points as well, so the win would mean nothing. Battles in 11th, Baxter in 14th. Drivers that would need wins along with Brian Dixon as well, but I think Dixon, is here in 14th as well. Now the last stage point gets interesting, as now we officially, I think, enter green white checker territory as they get bunched up. We'll go over the rules in a second. This is where it gets interesting. Ryan Pinnell, burn a fast repair. He was riding 3rd. I was talking about earlier that if he was riding where he was, he would have been good, but obviously sometimes you get dealt a bad hand. He's now fixed his car up, but he's in 19th. He knows his mission statement. He needs to get up the field as quick as he can and get as many points as he can. He needs to get ahead of Battles ASAP if he can. Obviously, two laps is not a lot of time to do it, but that's his main goal. Get as many points as he can and hope you can leapfrog Battles and hope you can catch LaJoy too and try to jump down. We'll do all the stage math at the end. Obviously, it will be unofficial. Obviously, penalties could play a factor. I don't think anyone's got a penalty, but you never know how points could shake up. But we'll do all the calculations at the end, and we'll give you an unofficial tally before we sign off on the broadcast. Quick check on the green-white check rules if you are new. We have, drivers will take the green flag this time by. They'll go around. If a caution were to come out before the leader sees the white flag, we'll re-rack them and do it again. If the leader sees the white flag before a caution were to come out, this race will be official. Next flag ends the race. Cautions don't usually get called on the white flag lap, so they'll be racing back to the checkered. They have 3 attempts if they need it. So if you see a caution happen before this happens, we'll re-rack them, and they'll have 2 more attempts after this. And if they still rack up that 3rd attempt, it will either be a caution ends this race, or it will be 2 green flag laps no matter what happens. We talked about how the season's on the line. No one really, the highest driver that could shake this up is Ethan Wood, who, if he were to win, would change the line. Obviously, anything can still happen. Galloway looking for his first win. Fleming looking for his 2nd. Kent and Gaiman looking for their first, with Kent all-time, Gaiman this season. Pace car pulls off. Let's do this dance, shall we? Green is out, and away we go. Kent gets the shove to Galloway, and his line begins to move. Obviously, if a wreck were to happen on the final lap, it's going to be a question of who can get through the wreck the quickest, and it could save or end a season. Galloway, Kent pull away, Markowski in 3rd. Outside line does not have the momentum at the moment. Ethan Wood has to maybe think about going high. He will go high here. He knows this season he has to at least be a chance to win. He'll jump in front of Fleming. Kent going to jump up in front of Wood. Wood going to get sent to the 3rd line here. That's pretty much going to take him out of contention, but here comes Pressy. They're wrecking in the back. Riley Wright gets a little loose. They're still spinning. That's going to be a caution. Pinnell involved. That is not what you want to see if you're a Pinnell fan. We'll re-rack him. Big lick for LaJoy as he is involved. Smeal also involved as well, but looks minor. But the main story is that man, Ryan Pinnell, toe link officially broken. And that is probably the season as well for making the playoffs. It is heartbreaking as you see him just towing back. You do feel for him. El Presidente. I see he's going to limp back here. We'll take a look, but that is, it's last lap pushing. And it's what happens sometimes. So we'll take a look at the point of the yellow flag here, but obviously they were wrecking a little bit before that. We caught Riley Wright involved, and you can see 4 wide here, which is never good, to say the least. We'll see if we can rewind here just a little. Yeah, there's the incident in question. So we'll play here. We'll go with a nice eye in the sky camera. We'll get that off the screen, and then we'll play it at half speed here. Feimster went up into Hagen. Hagen checked up in the right. And then Wright gets sent sideways here into Hagen. And that ping-pongs Wright, trying to save it, but it kicks right in front of Pennell. And then nowhere for Pennell to go, and then we'll pivot to Pennell, who shoots down the road right into Brian Johnson. Nowhere for Smeal to go as well. And Nathan LaJoy, big lick as well. And Roberts, don't forget Bren Roberts there as well. Now we'll play it out at full speed. We'll play it back here just a second again, and we'll take it another angle. There's the check, Feemster and Hagen. Hagen to the right. Nowhere for Pennell to go. Gets sideways up the road. And big lick for Nathan LaJoy as well. That car had to be towed to pit lane as well. He couldn't even make it to the pit lane. We'll take another look. This time we'll ride on board with the 84 Bren Roberts, as he has a good view of this incident as well. There's the checkup. There's the loose. Roberts is trying to get low. Good avoidance by Wanzi to get through, but not the same. Actually, pretty minor damage for Roberts, so he should be okay, but big incident in question. We'll head back to live action. Ryan Pennell on pit lane. I don't think that car is going to meet the 10 count, so pretty much probably takes him out of contention here. But we're going to head back up towards the front. Cars trying to save fuel here. Remember, they last came in 83. Now we're officially over, just to show you if we can go by the lap counter here. Yeah, lap 102 of 104. So they have pushed over 20 laps of fuel here. There is fuel concerns at the very least for our top runners. They are sputtering. First car that's topped off is going to be John Hagen in that number 1. He came in at 97 along with Vordon, Adams, Brian Johnson. Everyone else is on the 84 call, so if they can't make that number work, as you can see them all on the apron here, it is a conga line except for Tom Sears, who's maybe accepted his fate. He knows, I got the number, I don't. Sitting on the apron is not going to help. But they are all going to conga line low here, just trying to save that little extra fuel to try to make it. Pit lane obviously open. We'll see if anyone just decides to top off if we get another green-white checkered here. But again, Kent, Fleming, a lot of them want this flag more than they need the points. And they're all going to stay out here for the most part. No one is coming in. So we should get the one to go this time by. We'll reset the field here again, just to give you kind of an update. Kent, like I said, nothing's changed. Wins doesn't mean anything to him. He's in the playoffs regardless. Fleming, 1 to 500, in regardless if he wins or not. Galloway, same story along with Gaiman. Pressey, part-timer. If he wins, he just wants the flag. Overstat, same thing. In, doesn't need the win, would just be for pride. Sears, same thing. Withers, same thing. Dixon would be, I believe, the first driver that would have an effect. I think. Let me double check. But I could also be talking out my keister, if you want to say it politely enough. Nope, Brian Dixon's in as well. He doesn't need the win. My mistake. Tucker, part-timer. Battles would be the first driver, if he were to win, would have an effect on that bubble line, as he, I think, may be currently in. It's close between him and the points right now in the situation, but a win would definitely help him out. He sits in 11th. McDonough, also another driver in 13th. Baxter in 14th. Thiemster in 16th. The drivers in the must-win camp. Obviously, we talked about the drivers and their fuel concerns. Like I said, Hagen, Adams, Vordon, Roberts, Johnson, and Wanzing all came at 97. And obviously, the cars involved in that last incident, bet 10 count, they came in at 101. So they are all good to go on fuel. There's just a question mark of it. Obviously, Kent's still on that apron. He is not either he's playing mind games or he does not see a number that he likes. Actually, we'll go real fast inside the cockpit. He's running 7. He's running pace lap speed. He's not clutching and saving. But you know he's not pushing it any harder than he has to. Just try and do whatever he can to get that number to work. All right, this is a second green-white checker attempt. They have one more available if we get another one. So if we go green again, obviously, first of all, if we get another green-white checker, I think most of the field may have to pit. But if we stay going to the end, we'll see how it all plays out. Control will be on Matthew Kent as we get this show again on the road. Green flag is out, and away we go for the second time of 2 green-white check attempts with a max of 3. Kent, good launch. He'll have his choice of the lines. His cars begin to fan in and out. Fleming and Galloway going to get a little boxy for second. Kent, with this big gap, can choose what line he thinks gives the advantage, and unlike the first restart, that outside line has kept toe. Looked like, I was going to say Withers got shuffled out. He'll get side-checked. We stay pointing the right direction. We stay green. No caution call. That's going to cause major checkups here. Back up towards the front. I think we saw more smoke there. You have one car on the inside. I think that's Brian Johnson. But no caution will be called as a single card incident. And that will then be the caution. So mute that point. I think Brian Johnson obviously there, but actually bigger wreck up front. Did not have the battle box open. And you can see the effect. Multiple cars. Hagan, Markowski. Pretty much a lot of cars here. Baxter, McDonough. It'd be better to tell you who wasn't involved in it. Wanzing, Wood, McDonough, Vordon. Just going to cycle through names here. Wood, Johnson, Feemster, Wright, Markowski, who did not need this to happen. He may be stuck. Hagan had to tow to pit lane along with Ross Baxter, all involved in this incident. So it wasn't that first incident we saw. It was later. And we're going to have to take a look at this again as we now enter the final green light checkered attempt. So we'll take a look at the point of caution. Cautions, precautions, and especially as a cutoff race, desperation plays. We'll play it back here as obviously this is all going to stem from the earlier part here with the 43. So we're going to watch here with the 43 here. We're going to go in the chopper cam, we're going to play at full speed, and then we're going to cut some angles here, but watch. So 43 goes up the road, tries to come back in, Tucker's there, hooks him. He gets it saved, but that causes the checkup. They get stacked in, actually wasn't Brian Johnson who got sent around. Then we go back to another angle. They come up the road. There goes Brian Johnson. My mistake. He was the one that got hooked by, I think, Battles. But here's the point of incident. It looked like McDonough went down. We'll play it back here just a second. The power of video editing. We'll play it here, see what happened. And we'll play it at a 4th speed. We do have some information to know as we get back to live action, but we'll cover that in a second. Hagan on that high side. You can see McDonough trying to follow that line, follow feather place, but he did not know Withers and Baxter were on his inside. That shoots it low, and then you're going to see McDonough get shot up through the road here like a cannon, along with Baxter, and that puts anyone behind him in a no-man's, no-win situation. Big lick for Baxter. He gets sideways. Smeal gets hit in. You can see still riding the catch fence Baxter is, and you can see it becomes a car park pretty much. We'll take another look. Before we get another look at that incident, we'll take a quick look what happened to Brian Johnson in that 72. So keep an eye on the left of the screen. Yeah, he just gets, I think, hooked by Feemster, maybe indirectly goes for a wind here, trying to follow the pack. Yeah, 4 wide. Maybe gets a little bit up there, maybe comes down. Regardless, it sends him low. He doesn't hit. Yeah, he does a good save by Johnson. And maybe indirectly helps him because he avoids that catastrophe that happens up the road. We'll take another look, this time at the point of the yellow flag. We'll follow along with John Hagan. We'll go on board with 2 cars here. We'll go on board with John Hagan, and then we'll go on board with Ross Baxter. So Hagan has a good view of this. Yeah, McDonough just comes down, does not know he's 3 wide. And just, you hate to see it. You get sent sideways, and you can see a lot of good cars involved. 2 more looks. This time we'll focus on the 22 of Ross Baxter, as he is going to have a sensational crash here. We'll go inside the cockpit for this one. Just take a listen. Yeah, just nothing you do. Engines killed. It is pretty much day done. And then one more look, just real fast. We'll play it at full speed at a wide angle just to show you what exactly happened again. Yeah, just big lick all around. Multiple good cars taken out of this race. Back to live action. Let's set the tone. They come to get the 1 to go this time by. We have officially entered the final green-white checkered attempt. we do have some reports to share as well. Matthew Kent elected to come in along with Josh Gaiman. Gave up the lead, gave up the top row. They came in. Seth Wanzing, Colin McDonough, Ethan Wood, some of those cars involved in the incident, they came in and topped off. So everyone came in from 13th on down, came in and pitted for fuel at 105. Jonathan Adams leaves the train of the drivers that came in at 97, along with Roberts, Verdon, and Johnson. They are good to go on fuel, but then it comes the question mark. Galloway leads this race. He'll be lined up on the inside with Nicholas Presley on his high side. Oberstadt, Sears, row 2. Dixon Battles, row 3. Tucker, Feather Place, row 4. Adams, Roberts, row 5. Looking at that top 8, the only driver that could really flip this on its head is Josh Battles if he were to win. I think he's at the moment still now above the line with Pinnell's troubles, but obviously things can change on a dime depending what happens on this final run. Obviously Markowski got those stage points, but now Markowski is sitting now down in 20th. I'm not sure where he is at the moment, if he's got enough stage points to keep himself above the line. You also got to factor in as well Mike LaJoie, not here tonight. He had a cushion coming into tonight's race at 32 points. That has fallen a little with some drivers getting stage points, but it's still at least over 30, 25 to 30 points, depending. Could easily play a factor in this. If he falls below, it could be just enough for Battles, if he were to have something happen, or Markowski to jump in. McDonough as well. So there's a lot to play for here. No one is safe, but one thing's for sure, this is the final green-white checkered attempt, and it's going to start on the control of Blake Galloway. In the top 10, only one driver has found victory this season. That is Brandon Featherplace. All 9 looking for their first win. Would be a great time to get it. Pace car pulls off. Final green-white checkered attempt. Let's get this thing running. Checkers or wreckers. Green flag is out, and away we go. Obviously, rules are a bit stingy. We're not sure if caution were to come out on this last lap. They could call the caution, ended under yellow. They may let him race back. Unknown at this time, but we will see how it plays. Johnson going to try to make that third line work. He's in a do-or-die situation. He's going to try whatever he can. Galloway, Oberstadt, Dixon, low side, Pressey, Sears, high side. The part-timers on the high side, the series regulars on the low side. Getting squirrely, getting pushy. You can see Dixon, Tucker trying what he can to do. You see him pushing hard. Pushing and pushing like there's no tomorrow, because for some, there isn't. 3 and 4 right now. They all kept it clean. 3 wide further back. As they come down the long straight, Flagman has the flag in his hand. Drivers begin to fan. There's a bit of a checkup. Presley in the wall. Multiple wrecks. Will they see the white? They will see the white. We'll take a look at the replay of who's involved later. We're staying on to this to the end. Dixon gets sent thrown up low with Galloway. Opens the door for Oberstedt on the low side. Looking for shades of revenge in Atlanta. He's got Tucker and Adams on his low side here. Galloway set high. They shoot down the low. Oberstadt sent way off the road. He's out of contention. Opens the door for Steve Tucker here. Tucker now leads it with Adams, Fordon, and Gaiman on that low line. There's concerns of fuel. Tucker going to try to do it. Confirms entry late. He's going to go high. Adams is there. They're going to touch. Fordon going to get shut off the road. Multiple big wreck. Everyone involved. Who will skate by first? It is going to be a photo finish here. It looks like it's going to be the number 11 and the number 05 heading to the finish line here. And the Cinderella story has a slipper. Black Acid Racing's Joshua Battles takes the checkered flag, and he will lock his way into the playoffs on a miracles chance there. Big ending, big finish, and the slipper fits for the Black Acid Racing driver. He has found victory. He made the finals in the Blackett Challenge. He was on a knife's edge throughout tonight, and he has officially locked his way in. No math required. He finishes first. Brian Dixon finishes second, and Chris Fleming finishes third. Wright and Johnson round out the top 5. Black Acid Racing's first victory in a long time, and you can see all smiles probably in that 11's cockpit right now. He is probably over the moon right now, as he is going to presumably burn it down. Dixon and Fleming as well, second and third. So he is going to burn it down, your race winner. Again, if the slipper fits, it fits for him, and he will go playoff racing. You can see Chris Fleming also joining in. I think he may be a driver for Black Ass, so if that is the correct case, I'll confirm that real fast. There's been a lot of team shuffling. Yep, he is. So obviously their last win was Daytona earlier in this year, but you know it's happy smiles for Black Ass Racing. They kicked the regular season off with a win, and they have now ended the season with a win. I think Battles may have ran out of fuel here to save his troubles. So he's going to be stationary for a minute as he'll get a quick shunt from the 38 there, just trying to give him some extra momentum. So he ran out of fuel. 84 was only good enough to get to the line and one extra pace lap, but it's enough to get you there. So while we take a second here, before we get to the interviews, I'm going to quickly go through the results here as Battles heads around the track here to celebrate his victory. We'll take a quick look here as friends, teammates helping teammates here. We'll take a look at the final results here just to get the math correct here so I know who is where. So Brian Dixon gets second, Chris Fleming gets third, Bradley Wright fourth, and Brian Johnson's fifth. Good effort for Johnson there late, but just not enough. McDonough will get sixth. So McDonough gets sixth. Tom Sears gets seventh. Matthew Kent eighth. Tommy Withers ninth. Patrick Oberstadt 10th. Vordon 11th. Roberts 12th. Tucker 13th. Gaiman 14th. So that top 14th, and it's not good because a lot of those drivers in the next half of this grid are going to be drivers that needed good points here. Galloway will get 15th after that incident on the last lap. Feemster will get 16th. Baxter, Feather Place will get 17th. Markowski will get 18th. Jonathan Adams will get 19th. LaJoy up here. Wanzing 20th. Ethan Wood 21st. Nicholas Presley 22nd. Ross Baxter 24th. As we get into the drivers that retired. Marshall, Joy, Smeal, Hagen, Pinnell getting the guys that retired. So we'll do that math in just a second here while we do the interviews, but that is how they will at least finish here for the first couple rows here. So as we get ready here, again, do not go anywhere if you're still joining us here live. We have the top three interviews to hear from them as well. We'll see if anyone is ready to go here. Chris Fleming is obviously our third place driver, and Brian Dixon as well. We'll see. We'll give a second here to Battles. We do want to hear go 1, 2, 3, as obviously we want to capture that raw emotion of a race winner. But if we can't get that luxury yet, we'll do Dixon first, and then we'll go Fleming and Battles. Obviously, Fleming right now is pushing Battles. So while we give Battles a second maybe to calm down, or at least very least enjoy his victory, we'll bring in second place Brian Dixon, and we'll hear his thoughts now. Brian, this is Kevin the ABM booth. You got a copy? Oop, check 1, 2. Brian, Kevin in the ABM booth. You got a copy? Check one more time here. Brian, Kevin in the ABM booth. You got a copy? Well, it looks like he's not here at the moment, so we'll bring him back to the waiting room, and we'll hear from our race winner, Josh Battles, instead. Josh, this is Kevin in the ABM booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Obviously, you had a very eventful finish there, as obviously coming into the night, you've had to worry about math, but you don't have to worry about math finding victory, but we'll have to start at the very beginning here to talk about the race. So obviously, qualified towards the back, but obviously Talladega qualifying doesn't matter, but we got to ask, knowing you were in a situation where points mattered and stage points mattered, what was your mindset going in for the first two stages? Keep the car clean, or are you going to try to get stage points wherever you could?
Well, I really just wanted to make sure I was at the end because, no matter how many stage points I would have got, if I don't finish the race, it would have made, no difference at all.
Mm-hmm. You are 100% correct. Stage points do matter, but at some point you got to make sure you finish to get those points to cash in. Obviously, second stage you get points, and then you're coming into the last stage here. You're sitting around pretty. You're riding in the top 10. I do got to ask, because I was pondering this thought. Markowski got a lot of stage points. You really didn't. Did you know your situation in the final stage, or did not want to know? You just were like, I'm going to ride, and whatever happens, happens.
Well, I was, I was just going to try to finish as best as I could. I knew Ryan and Colin were real close, and Dale had got some stage points. We were discussing it back and forth because Dale's my Black Acid teammate there. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't sure I could catch with Dale with the stage points he had earned, but I just wanted to make sure I beat that 12 and that 39.
Yeah, you set yourself a goal, and clearly you did that just fine. Looking at the last results, you were riding around that mid-pack there. First green, white checkered occurs. Then the second one. We're coming to the final one, and we saw in the first and second stage fuel concerns. We saw Kent, we saw Gaiman, we saw a lot of the field on that apron trying to save as much fuel as we can. Eventually, coming to the last green, white checkered attempt, Kent and Gaiman said no mas. They came in, they pitted for fuel. You stayed out. Obviously, I don't think you were going to pit anyway just because you were going to risk it, but what was the fuel looking like there? Did you feel confident you had enough in the tank, or were you worried that maybe you were going to run out?
I honestly thought I was a whole lot better shape than what I was. I run out of gas doing my burnout after the race, but I had roughly around 4.3 when we were coming to green, so I knew it was going to be close, but I thought I was in better shape than what I actually was.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to look that line. And now take us through that last lap from your perspective, because you were sitting, I believe, just outside the top 10. Eventually, one accident happens. Another accident happens. You slowly move up, 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 and eventually that big one happens out of 4, and you're able to slip through there undetected and take victory. So take us that last lap from your perspective.
It was definitely interesting. That brought back from my old dirt car days years ago when I did this in real life, and it was just, you're not really thinking about what you're doing. You're just reacting and trying to get away from the car that's sideways in front of you, or the car that might potentially come down and clip you, along with trying not to wreck anybody else and yourself, avoiding all that. It was more reaction than thinking.
Mm-hmm. That sums it up quite well. At some point, you're just reacting, trying to move forward. Obviously, with this win, you're locked into the playoffs. No math required. So now in the playoffs, what's your mindset heading into next week? I'll confirm the track here because I'm obviously not 100% sure what it is. But now knowing in the playoffs, how do you feel heading off into Charlotte? Is it a track that thinks in your strength to kind of give yourself a good lunge for the first round of the playoffs?
Charlotte's definitely a track I like. I like the mile-and-a-half tracks. My luck there is up and down, but I do like it, and it's just going to be, I'm just going to take it a race at a time and just try to make it to the next round and do the best I can with my finishes to make maximum points.
Yeah, that's all you can do, and it worked for you in the bracket challenge, so at the very least, you can definitely maybe make that work as well. We got to the point of the show. Does anyone want to thank family, friends, sponsors, what have you? Floor is yours. Take it away.
I'd like to thank my wife and my kids and everybody here in my house for putting up with me. I know I got loud a while ago when I was coming to the checker and after the checker. I had a teenager running here like something was wrong. So them, and thank my Black Acid teammates. Those guys are awesome, and Kerr for selecting me 2 years in a row and having the faith to me to drive on his team. That's pretty humbling for somebody that's not. I don't see myself as being one of the top tier drivers in this.
He had confidence in you, and hey, he played it out quite nicely, and obviously we'll have to see how the math plays out, but I would say at least it looks good at the moment that he got all his drivers in the playoffs with both Fleming, you, and Markowski. Obviously, we'll see how the math plays with Markowski, but regardless, he drafted well, and he definitely rewarded him here today with the victory. So enjoy yourself. Obviously, make sure you enjoy it quite responsibly, and you take care. Have a good rest of your week, Josh.
Hey, yeah, thank y'all, and thank all of our ARCS admins and the guys that put this stuff on, too. And without them doing what they do, we wouldn't be here having fun on Sunday nights. And I will say my dad has been watching the streams here and there when he can, and he's enjoyed getting to watch from his house what I'm doing at my house. So that's awesome as well.
Great to hear that as well. Obviously, love hearing the family watching as well. So, again, you enjoy the rest of the week, Josh. You take care and enjoy this victory.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Kevin.
And that was our race winner, Josh Battles, as he is definitely one happy man here tonight. And that will move us on nicely to our second place finisher. Actually, he is not in the booth. So we'll hear from third place finisher, Chris Fleming. We'll hear his thoughts now. Chris, this is Kevin the A-Band booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Obviously, you had a very eventful race as well. 1-3 for Black Acid Racing, as obviously things played out quite nicely for you, but we'll also have to start at the beginning. Obviously, coming into tonight, you had nothing really to worry about as you found a victory at Daytona at the start of the year, thus locked into the playoffs. But knowing that your two Black Acid teammates both needed help with both Battles and Markowski, what was the mindset going through your team chat tonight? Was you going to help whoever you can, or is the spot I just wanted the checkered flag, and if they can get a good spot, so be it?
No, it was definitely we talked about it all day throughout practice and everything else like that. Me being locked in, it basically I was the one that started the conversation and was like, "All right, I don't care what I have to do to get both of you in. If one of you needs to be in front of me and one of you needs to be behind me, we are going to the front." And I know through the beginning of the race, me and Dale were working well together. We were around each other and we, calling out runs and basically just trying to stay up front as much as we could and just try and get him stage points because I knew I didn't want it to come down to necessarily have to be a win in and in. And I knew that points were real close from I think it was what like 12th on back. It was basically a drop of a feather of who was going to make it in. So for the first two stages, me and Dale were pretty much up front the entire time. I know he got the stage win, which was really good, and took a little bit of the pressure off the back of all right, now you've got a 10-point gap. Let's build upon that. And then yeah, I thought I had a chance to win there at the end when we came to that last green flag start, and I looked down at the fuel gauge as we were coming to 1 to green, and it said 2.1 laps, and I was like, I don't want to be that guy that runs out in front of the entire field. So I decided that I was going to pit, which put me in a better position to be behind my two teammates to try and at least help one and or both of them. And when we were coming into 3, I had a real big run, and I came over the radio. I set Battles brace for impact because he was about to get a 25-mile-an-hour difference in speed shot. Pushed him, and then they started wrecking on the high side, and I was basically like, wherever you go, I'm following you through it, but I'm not getting off your bumper. I'm either pushing us into it or through it. And when we came out the other side, he said he got loud, but I did too. I was like, Battles, you've got it. You're passing Dixon. Battles, you've got it. And I'm screaming on the radio. I'm like, keep your foot in it. And he ended up getting it. So I'm hoping points wise that Dale ended up getting it as well, and all three of us, made it in. That would be a wild end to the season.
I was doing the unofficial math, and I do have some confirmation of that, but we'll get to that in just a second. But I think you pretty much answered all the questions I have. But I was going to ask one more question as well. Obviously, you talked about the final lap there and the speed differential, and obviously the fuel running out. But, yeah, I think really that answers all the real questions I have. You pretty much summed up everything I have. So why don't we just reveal the numbers here and see who exactly is in at the moment. Battles, obviously, in with the win. And I can confirm, at least if my math is correct, Markowski did enough with those stage points, and he is in as well, tied with, he is in as well. So I can confirm as well, if my math is correct, Markowski is in.
Awesome.
So you are correct.
That is
unofficial, of course, but Black Ass Racing gets all three in.
Yeah, it's awesome that all three of us, unofficially, if all three of us make it, it would definitely be awesome. It sucks because Kerr had basically had a lot of computer problems and stuff like that, and he kind of just, in our team chat that we have, that we message back and forth and share memes with each other and all that fun stuff, he basically, handed the reins almost to Dale and was like, hey, I'm not going to be around just because, obviously, computer issues and all that stuff like that, and it's just nice that in my rookie season, it took a lot of pressure off my back to get that first win at Daytona, first race of the season, and now I don't have to worry for the season. And I think I followed it up with about 10 races of who is this guy? He absolutely is garbage. And I feel like I've been on a good run for these last 6, 7, maybe even eight races where I've been top 5, top 10, contending for the lead and stuff like that. So I've definitely turned it on here at the end of the season. I think I finally might have actually figured out this car a little bit. But it's just awesome knowing that I can go into the playoffs now and have my two teammates with me and just look forward to working with them and seeing what we can do and seeing if not only could I get my first win this season, see if we can get our first championship as a rookie.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see. Obviously, gotten 3 Black Ass cars in that finale. Again, people were wondering sometimes, I'll be at the draft wondering why Black Ass had to pick Markowski first when there's other drivers on the board. But, hey, Markowski showed, obviously, the team synergy is something you can't fully replay, and it's definitely proved out here getting 3 Black Ass cars in the top 3. We got into
team synergy. Yeah. Team synergy is one thing, but when you got great guys that are great people, aside from racing, that'll work with you, they're great teammates, they're just great human beings alone, I think that makes up for it even a little bit. Even if we didn't make it into the playoffs, I'd have still been happy to be teammates with them regardless.
Well, obviously, enjoy that as well. We got to the point. Does anyone want to thank family, friends, sponsors, what have you? Floor is yours. Take it away.
I've definitely got to thank my family after this one for causing a ruckus there on the last lap. I know they're in the living room watching TV going, what is happening in there? But other than that, obviously got to thank my teammates, got to thank Kerr. Kerr picked me as a rookie, as an unknown, only had a couple of races under my belt and some, some TMT races and some high octane races, and picked me. And I feel like I've done good as a rookie this year. But other than that, got to thank family, friends, thank you guys in the booth. Thank my girlfriend for letting me do this every weekend and putting up with my shenanigans and knowing that she doesn't have me for basically an entire night. I know she's actually watching on her phone right now on the way to the hospital. Her brother and fiance are having a baby, I think, as we speak.
Oh.
So I know she's watching on the phone, driving in the car with her sister. Her sister's got it on her phone watching, so I told her to keep the interview on. So definitely want to thank both of them, and just everything along the lines of that, you guys, and just this whole ARCS thing. It's just been fun.
Yeah, it's been very fun as well, and it's been quite a treat to watch this whole season. So obviously, congrats to your brother and family as well for having that child. Hopefully everything goes well. And as well, it's been great talking to you. Enjoy the start to the playoffs. Hopefully Charlotte goes well for you and your teammates, and hopefully we talk to you before the season's out. But regardless, take care. Have a good rest of your week.
Thank you. Hope to see you back here in the broadcast booth again in the next couple of races.
Hopefully. Take care now.
Have a good one.
And that was our third place finisher, Cliff Fleming. And with that, obviously Dixon looks like he was not involved in the interview process, so we do not have him, as it looks like he was dealing with some mic issues, so that will end the board as well. Obviously, Fleming did not win. It looks like I forgot to flip the graphic over while I was doing the math, so obviously he finished third as well. Let's just crack the record here. Just 1 second. Just to show you, yep, third place. There we go. Third for him. Josh Bales finished first. So anyway, with that, let's quickly go over the math here, and then we'll get to the big old drum roll, please, of how everyone finished out. So, Battles takes victory. No math required. He is in. Going in, obviously, it'll be interesting to see how he finished out, where it would be. It would be close between him and McDonough and LaJoy before coming in tonight. So, it's very interesting to see how it would have shaked out in an alt timeline. However, the win, doesn't have to worry about that. Dixon second, Fleming third, Wright fourth, Johnson top five again. Wright, good recovery after getting top spin to get a top five. Johnson as well tried his best, but just couldn't get there in the end with the accident. McDonough got just what the doctor ordered in sixth. Sear seventh, Kent eighth, Withers ninth, Oberstadt 10th, Vordon 11th, Roberts 12th, Tucker 13th, Josh Gaiman 14th. We'll continue on with the drivers that end up finishing out here. Galloway finished 15th, Themster 16th, Featherplay 17th, Markowski 18th, obviously on that late wreck. Then we get the Wood, Wanzing, and Adams, who did not finish the last lap there. Toad, they'll be 19th, 20th, 21st, respectively. Then Pressey, who obviously on that shunt, couldn't make it to the flag. Arshall, Baxter, LaJoy, Smeal, Hagan, Pinnell, getting the guys that retired earlier in the race, or just try to continue and hope for the best. Merchant, first one of the early retirements, Burton, and Mongold round out the 31-car field. So, with that, we're now going to do this in kind of a special way. Again, this is unofficial math. Obviously, the record will be corrected, and obviously, if anything changes, keep an eye on ABN Studios. But if I've done the math right, here's how it shakes up. We'll go from 12th on down here to 16th. So, obviously, we'll put Battles up to 12th, as he obviously won the race. He would obviously be higher, but we'll count him as 12th, so I didn't count anyone above him. Galloway will be 13th. Obviously, no real risk for him making it or not. He seemed good in the math. He will make it. We'll just pull up a screen here to show you. Yeah, MP base. That will work better. We'll just show the name. So, Galloway gets the job done. He'll finish 13th at 389 points. 14th, Jonathan Adams. He'll make it in as well. Got a little close, but he'll get 375. He is in at 14th. 15th, Dale Markowski at 359, if the math is right. He will finish, just for a record point, 5 point adrift from the car in 16th. So Markowski gets in by the skin of his teeth there, obviously with that late wreck, but those stage points was crucial for him to make a run here. He is in at 15th unofficially, of course. And lastly, the last seat in, it came down to 1 point. And it's going to be, I said he did enough, and it was correct. Colin McDonough in at 16th, 1 point ahead of Mike LaJoy, who did not make it here tonight. Obviously not riding in that 29, so he was not here, and thus McDonough did just enough to get that 39 in by 1. If he finished 7th, he would have been tied. If he finished 8th, he would have been out. So that wreck benefited McDonough the best, and he will be in unofficially as well. 17th is LaJoy at 353, Mike LaJoy, and then Ryan Pinnell at 337. Feemster and Baxter obviously were in must-wins. They did not get enough points to get in. So that is how the 16 shake up. Again, just because why not? This is a special broadcast. We'll show again just the old standings here. So Hagen, Feather Place, Marshall, Vordon, Fleming, Withers, Battles, Wansing, Dixon, Gaiman, Kent, Oberstadt, Galloway, Adams, Markowski, and McDonough will be fighting for a championship by next week. 16 drivers all on the train to Charlotte. Only one of them will make it in. Obviously, that's an old graphic, obviously just showing you names so I knew exactly where everyone was. But that is going to do it for interviews. That is going to do it for the results tonight. It has been exciting, fun. That's why I love doing plate race broadcasts. Always a fun treat for me to do. Love these races in and out. But that is going to do it for me. And so instead of keeping this on for a little longer, let's just get to the sign-off here. Thank you for everyone tuning in for the first 18 rounds. Hopefully you join us next week here at 7 o'clock Eastern for the playoffs at Charlotte. Hopefully we can count on you being there as well and seeing at the end of the 7 rounds who will be hoisting a championship high and proud. Take care, and hope everyone enjoys the rest of their week.